Greetings, and welcome to the That Works finale.
Woo-hoo!
He succeeded in getting louder.
Yes, he did.
We made
You
it!
changed the levels back for his mic, right?
Let me check.
Uh-oh.
We just blew out somebody's
I'm just going to
speakers.
destroy someone's poor eardrums.
Someone just got in trouble for listening.
Sorry about that, but, you know, I just can't.
Yes.
I can't contain myself. I'm so excited.
Well, and then they get the echo even well, not even louder, but at least just as loud.
Yes.
That's what I'm here
What
for.
to work on that maybe our earnings from the That Works DreamWorks podcast
What
we can
earnings?
pay for some foam.
What earnings?
You want to get some more foam for us, Jake?
No!
Our budget
It's
is
your
Our
turn.
budget is Jake's pocket.
Legit.
It kind of is. I mean, you bought the hard drive,
True.
and I bought like an SD card. Jake bought everything else. Well, that's not fair. I bought one of these mics.
That's true. That's true.
So, but anyway,
Of
anyway,
4.
actually,
How many of these
Actually, no, that one is mine because I bought the stand. It came with the stand I bought.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 of the 4 are mine.
Okay.
Anyway, so this is the finale, as we already said, and we decided that we were going to rank all 41 of the
41.
DreamWorks movies that have come out thus far. We had quite a jovial time. It took us multiple days, and much happened along the way. But here we are. We're ready to unveil our list.
So, anything else we want to say before we
Yeah,
jump into it?
any other thoughts before we get into the list?
Filming that was chaotic. It took a long time, but I'm happy with the list that we got. I think it ended up well.
I think I said more in the discussion of the rankings than I did across the
actual
entirety of the series, yeah.
Maybe one day one of our fans will do like a Jake supercut, like all times Jake speaks, and it's like 23 minutes long.
Really? You give me all of 23 minutes?
I would, yeah,
I'd give
because
you
20 minutes
23.
of that is this right here that we're about to see.
I suppose that's fair.
Fair. True.
And anything else? Because otherwise, without further ado, this is our rankings of the DreamWorks animated catalog.
Enjoy.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm loving it.
Doom.
Jared, are
Yeah.
you ready for this?
I suppose this is going to be, I didn't realize coming into this that I'm going to have to write and erase a million times, and Chalk hates me, so this is going to be fun.
It's kind of unfortunate that we don't have an actual whiteboard to use.
We do, but it's over here.
It's right there.
Oh my god, why don't we just use the actual whiteboard?
Because it's got inappropriate things written on it.
impermanent
worse.
marker.
Smooth, very smooth.
Well, I think.
We're double checking this.
Well,
There's-
we definitely couldn't erase it.
Yeah,
Is
the-
it clean
the,
now?
True.
do we have anything else that we need to... anything else that we want
Let's just get into it,
All right, let's
Dickey!
do this, baby! Jared,
Yeah.
you want to start us off?
Yes. So, for those of you who have been watching us, we started with ants. Ants. Oh, that
Ants.
whole thing.
Ants! Ants! Ants!
So, the way this is going to work, because ants doesn't have anything to compare it to, because we're doing the comparison ranking type, I'm going to write ants in the one spot, like this. I hope you can not only see it, but read it.
Jared, make sure you write clearly.
I
And
did.
You okay?
I
that's-
have excellently poor penmanship.
chicken scratch, if you will.
I prefer hieroglyphics. It's like, that's quite the story, Jared. Just write my name. so, that's how I'll start. And we're doing it this way because we've tried scientific methods in the past when we just rank things for fun, and it didn't. You get some very weird rankings. Like the top 10 and the bottom 10 will be fine, but everything else is weird. And then we try. I feel like this is just, we're going to compare one by one and just go down the list. So we'll see what's at number one as we go through.
Whether this takes 2 hours or 12 hours, we're going to get this
Or
thing
20
done.
minutes, depending on when we kill you.
Maybe
He's
sooner
already
than later.
So, ants, if you recall, was our first movie. And I remember, again, this is back in June, and right now it's March when we're filming this. March of the next year, of course. And it's a pretty movie. If we were, I remember, Jake, you saying you didn't really care for it. And
Correct.
Dickey, I can't remember what your thoughts were because I usually don't listen to you.
It's enjoyable. It's not.
It's
This isn't like cream of the crop, but it's enjoyable.
human,
Because it's stupid.
the human leg thing still.
It's the animation is very unnerving.
And it's
But
by
also
compare,
for its time, it's
kind of because
Kinda
Bugs
there.
Life is the same
Yeah.
year, and they knew what not to show.
They also had more money, I think.
I thought I wrote.
Probably.
I think actually
Maybe.
it's funny.
Did you actually write that down? by any
Ants's
chance?
budget is anywhere from 42 to 105 million, and Bugs Life was like 120 million. I saw that today. So.
Yeah, and then
So
not too
Bugs Life does
surprising.
have more money, but yeah, and Ants was rushed to get out before Bugs Life.
Yeah,
because
So-
it's the same story.
pretty much. Yeah, but yeah, as of now, yeah.
So Ants will sit in this one spot for as long as it contends, which won't be long.
Which is
'cause-
not going to be
so now
very long.
we move into our first comparison, which is the Prince of Egypt, and I'm going to
I don't know,
guess all
guys.
three of us think it's better than Ants, right?
I don't know.
I don't
about
know.
that.
I don't know.
Yes, it's definitely better than Ants.
What do you think, Jake?
I don't think I'll justify that with an answer.
Okay.
I don't think it has to be said. I think it's pretty obvious that it is better than Ants.
The meme of Ants is better.
I will give you that. I will give you that.
I'm
Ants
not
is
writing
better
the
to
full
make fun
title
of.
every single time, so
Very fair.
What?
Prince. I can't fit some of these. You think I can fit Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World?
Yes.
Every
Yes.
single time. Have you
Yep.
seen my
This
writing?
is your job. You are required to
You
write
had
down.
one
How about
every
you come
job.
across that table and make me?
There's too many lights and cameras going on right now, but
There's also a table in the way.
So
You
there-
sliding
He
across
could either
that
get
table.
under or over the table,
I
That
would
is
bang
true.
my head if I tried going under.
just like Jared did.
Yes, exactly.
So now we move on to our third movie. We didn't really talk about Prince of Egypt, did we? Actually, no.
We didn't really
I mean, I
know,
don't
but
think
do we
there
need
needs
to?
be
Do we-
much
yeah,
to
Do we need to
discuss.
like rehash?
I still think it's one of the greatest animated movies ever made. I stand by that.
It is. I mean, the music's great. The animation style is great. It is a very well crafted movie.
It's probably one of the most whole movies that they've made.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't feel like it's meaning that it doesn't feel like it's lacking anything.
Absolutely.
can't think of anything
There's
to
very
change.
few things to pick apart when you look at it.
Do you have something to pick apart?
No, I was just gonna say there's very few.
So you don't even know what they are.
Well, okay. Listen.
See, now we're getting
let's
into it
just
because
move on
you
now.
can't
Let's-
just say there's a couple things here and there and then can't even give me one.
Okay.
It's like, oh, I can't think of any. Then why did you say that?
Okay, fine.
Did you have something on the brain?
I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything.
Okay,
to
so
pick
you
apart.
can't think of anything to bring
But I'm
up.
sure there is.
That's
There's-
different
there's
than,
something
there's a
to
couple things to pick
for every
apart.
Movie, all right, bud.
That's what you think.
Yeah, it is
What-
what I think.
But wouldn't that be objective?
I swear.
Oh, getting into it early.
What's the next movie?
Next movie is The Road to El Dorado. I remember this one being one that Jake said he liked, but wanted more character development. That was the big takeaway from him. And I actually watched this in the months after that again with a group of people, and I love it.
This is high. This is high on my list.
It's so much fun,
Oh my.
and I added the Elton John title track to a couple playlists. And
Oh, it's
it's
so,
so good.
Good.
It's like, why did this not get
On
more
the
popular?
trail we blaze.
I mean, that one too. I mean, the title track.
Oh,
The one
oh,
that
oh.
opens the movie. The
Yeah.
movie opening's like 90 seconds, but the song is like 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's
And it's good. It's that trumpet. It's
Yeah.
the trumpet part in there that
it
gets
is. It's phenomenal. But yeah,
Yeah,
so for me, I would rank this above Ants.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, that's not close. So Jake, you'd put it above Hands?
Yep.
Okay. So does it go above Prince of Egypt? I don't think so.
No.
No, it doesn't go over
Oh,
Prince of
okay.
Egypt.
I was waiting for him to be a little pissant about it. But
No, not yet.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We'll get there, buddy. Oh, we'll get there.
I'll just write El Dorado. I'm not gonna write Road.
Yeah, road might be a little too. There you go. His handwriting's looking better.
Okay.
Eh.
It's pronounced ants. I know it's not that bad to read.
Ants?
Just
Uns.
eh.
Uns.
Okay, what's the next one?
Okay, fourth is the first of 3 Aardman entries here, which is Chicken Run, which if I remember, Jake...
I'm sorry, did he just say the 4th of 3?
The fourth movie, the first of 3 Aardman. You don't listen to me. I know that already.
I didn't hear that middle part.
Listen, it's hard to listen to you, okay? It really
is.
Why is it hard to listen to me?
You're just not listenable.
I'm not listenable. What about you over there? All the time. You sound like...
At least I make myself heard.
You sound like someone strangling a crow.
I mean...
What do you mean, I mean? That's exactly what it is.
No, I was just going to say, again, someone had to turn off the podcast because you were too loud.
All right. Well, then turn down your volume.
No, turn down the volume. How about you talk quieter?
I don't know how to.
Yes, you... Actually, we can make him talk
that
quieter.
Might...
Where are those scissors?
I got this slider right here that should do it. He's already already at -30.
You are not allowed
Negative 100.
You are not allowed to turn me down.
But Chicken Run, Jake, what were your thoughts? I feel like I'm going to keep turning to you. Very dry. It's British.
Obviously, but it's just not my thing. So
that's what it was. What about you, Dickey? Because I talked about the childhood nostalgia of it.
I didn't have that much. I didn't have the childhood nostalgia. I remember the commercials for it, but never watched it as a kid. And so watching it as an adult, I did like it.
It is the Great Escape, but for kids.
Absolutely. And I'm excited there's going to be a new one coming out.
And again, the thing with me is probably because I didn't have the nostalgia for it.
100%.
So much of the first chunk of these movies is based in nostalgia.
Yeah. That's why I'm impressed. I like this one as much as I did without having that nostalgia for it. Because that's what it was for El Dorado for me. That's what holds it so high is because I was watching it as a kid. But yeah, so I don't know if we're going to start ranking it or not, but I would rank it.
I'm guessing all 3 of us are above Ants at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would keep it under El Dorado.
I think on my personal list that I ranked way back when I finished watching, I put it above. I think I'm putting it under El Dorado.
Under?
I think it's that rewatch of El Dorado that is putting it above it. So that's where I'm thinking. Are you agreeing, Jake?
All right, I think we're all agree. Yeah, cool.
Can you read that, Mr.
First off, the Z is kind of erased.
It's not kind of erased. It's just not fully written.
Actually, again, it's unts.
There you go. Good job, buddy.
It's gonna get erased in a second anyway.
That looks
so the next one, we're gonna skip the 5th movie. We're gonna go straight to Spirit, right?
Yeah, no.
You're gonna skip the most influential movie in this catalog.
Shark Tale?
Yeah.
Try again, buddy. It's number 1.
Huh. Oh, here we go. So,
he makes jokes.
I'm fighting.
Okay, everyone, it's Shrek. Right the 5th movie is Shrek. One of the most influential animated movies of all time. Doesn't mean it's one of the best. It's just very influential.
It is. And it is also the best.
I just feel it's aging well, but it's not like cream of the crop stuff. Its sequel is better. You agree with me.
I do agree with the sequel is better.
I don't think it's top 10. I know we haven't even gotten to 10 entries yet, but I don't think
it deserves to be number 1.
You think even better than the second? You just said the second one was better.
Well, we haven't gotten to the second one yet.
I know.
But we haven't gotten to the second
saying,
one yet. Out of these movies that we have on the board right now, Prince of Egypt, El Road to El Dorado, Chicken Run, and Ants, Shrek is my favorite out of all those.
That's your favorite. I'm talking. Oh, here we go again. So what you think is good is the best.
That's how movies work.
That is not it.
No, what?
Okay, we don't have to get into that whole thing again.
Oh, I don't know. We might need to. So you want to put Shrek right up there at number 1.
Yes, I do.
You think Shrek is better than Prince of Egypt?
Yes, I do.
How?
I think it sticks with you more than Prince of Egypt does. Are you telling me that you, not a day passes when you aren't humming I'm a Believer? A day passes.
That does not come from that movie, though.
Okay, no, I realize it's a song before that. But Shrek.
I mean, All Star doesn't even come from that movie. That was 2 years before the movie came out. Astro
and it was
and
it was popular before that movie.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Was I'm a Believer.
I think Shrek deserves to be number 1.
I disagree.
I know you disagree. Where do you want to see it?
Well, it's higher than Ants.
It's higher than Ants. Higher than Chicken Run. I think it's right there.
You think it's under El Dorado?
I just that rewatch.
It's better than El Dorado.
I think if I were to go and watch them again, I think El Dorado is more enjoyable.
Are you serious?
I do like the characters better in El Dorado.
I'm not going to say the same thing about Shrek 2, but Shrek 1 is rough around the edges. As great as it is and as game-changing as it is, it's rough around the edges and I don't want to say for its time, but it's...
I think it tells a better story than El Dorado. I think El Dorado, the reason that one sticks with me so much is because I love the characters and I love the music. And in Shrek, I love everything. Like, I don't really, like, for me, the plot to El Dorado is not a powerhouse as much as the plot to Shrek is. Shrek is the best way to take a classic fairy tale and flip it on its head. And El Dorado just seems like another, it's good, but it's just like a generic adventure movie.
I will say that we would be remiss to not consider its impact on the industry as a whole.
But I'm not putting it higher than Prince of Egypt.
I agree with you.
Can I fight you for number 2?
I think...
I don't think you have to fight him for number 2.
No,
I think...
As long as Prince of Egypt is above Shrek at this point with what's up
Listen,
there.
I'm the minority, so I'm going to lose no matter what.
Sometimes you never know if the one person who's disagreeing during this whole thing can influence the other.
I mean,
to be like,
you kind of did
what?
just convince me to put it over El Dorado.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying my best
I'm thinking,
to do.
I'm like, you know what? Like, my opinion aside, I'll give you that 2 spot now just because it's nowhere near that
I know
one.
I won't convince you to put it over Prince of Egypt. I'll try my darndest, but I don't expect you to listen to me.
You fine with 2 then, Jake?
Yeah, I'm fine with 2.
All right.
Now move all 4 of those, or 3 of those.
Here we go.
Woohoo!
The majority of this episode isn't going to be us discussing movies. It's going to be Jared erasing and rewriting all of the movies.
Gosh. So now we got Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, the movie that I think is very good and has 2 real big uhs in them.
I know what your
Matt
uhs
Damon and Bryan Adams. I just don't think the songs fit.
I will agree with you on Matt Damon. That's kind of a weird choice for the voice.
It's not just that. We don't need narration.
And we also really don't need the narration. Exactly. But come on, Bryan Adams songs are so good. They're just so
by themselves, but they don't fit in the movie.
They won't fit over anything. Like I said, I will argue this battle once again. I will.
It's a good album for an album.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't know.
I mean, there are a couple that fit, like that first one.
The first one's decent. The sad one on the train is okay.
Yeah.
But other than that, we know the song we're going to bring up that doesn't fit. And people, I know there's people watching the side that are just probably like, come on, Bryan Adams, that's one of the best parts of the movie. And I'd be like, I'm sorry.
It's really not.
I don't
that's
agree.
not what, like, if you look at someone like my wife, that is not what she likes about that movie. It is something that she likes about that movie, but it's not the thing.
That's probably, it's like the third thing for me. The first is the animation.
Oh,
yeah, like the way that they do. Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%.
Compared to that way, way, way inferior sequel, reboot, remake, adaptation.
Can you just like?
There's gonna be no debate. Might as well just put that at 41.
I should. Here, let's do it for the meme.
There we go. And then while you're doing that, I will make my case that I think it should be.
I dare you to put it above Shrek.
No, it's not going above Shrek. I'm back and forth if it's better than Chicken Run or not.
It is.
You think?
I think I'm right. The way it stands, I'd like to put it at 3. I think it's better. I think it's better than El Dorado.
I like El Dorado better. I like Chicken Run better even. I think Chicken Run and El Dorado are more consistent because of those 2 big glaring issues with Spirit.
That's what I was just telling you. I don't know if you heard or not. I'm debating if it's better than Chicken Run or not. I don't consider it better than El Dorado. I still think keep our top 3 the same.
Because it's a good movie. It's top half for sure.
Absolutely.
I just don't think it's as consistent, especially as that one. This one is the one where you can debate that more.
That's what
But this just feels way more consistent and doesn't have Matt Damon in it.
But just for me, what would put it over Chicken Run is just how beautiful it is.
Chicken Run looks good too. It's a different
thing.
thing. That's where it's hard to
compare.
compare.
It's not like the. I know obviously it doesn't fit the story, but it doesn't have the vistas that Spirit does. I know. I realize that, but that's
you say Matt Damon. I will counter that with Mel Gibson. I was
gonna say. At least Mel Gibson is a better voice actor.
There was less of Matt Damon than there was of Mel Gibson.
That is true.
I'm saying this is.
But if you take Matt Damon out of the movie, it still works.
I will.
If you take Mel Gibson out of it and replace it with anyone, it still works. You said
replace. I didn't say replace.
Jake, I will agree
Take
with you.
him out.
I think it should be better than Chicken Run.
I think it's better than Chicken Run.
I will adhere to your wishes. I'm gonna keep
Hey,
that in my back
I gave
pocket.
up that it's better than El Dorado.
That's true.
Even though I feel it's more emotionally consistent.
All right, I'm liking this list so far. I think it's turning out good. So, what is next?
We have one that I think I like much better than the two of you do, which is Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. The more I think about it, the more I like it, and the more I would push that. Because
Where would you push it?
Where, honestly, would you push it?
I like it more than Spirit, and I know both of you don't.
Not
I
a
think
chance.
this is a losing battle, but I would put it at 4.
Oh, God, no. I would
put it in between Spirit and Chicken Run.
Really? I was going to put it between Ants and Chicken Run.
Chicken. I just didn't click with the humor of Chicken Run.
Yeah, but did you like this more than Chicken Run?
Sinbad is fun. So is this, and so is this.
While I was
Sinbad
watching
is-
it, no. In hindsight, yes.
Interesting. In hindsight, it's just dropping. For
Remember
me.
what I told you? If you watch it again, because you're not looking past some of those weird animation things that Spirit also has, because of the time it comes out. But if you look into the story and the characters, and especially the ending, it's very good.
Also,
I did like the ending. I will give
and
you
again,
that.
if you go in knowing the ending's good, it makes the rest of the movie better because you know what it's building towards. And it's another
Also-
adventure thing. Sorry, Jake.
if I remember correctly, which I might not because we all know my memory, Chicken Run is a standard liar reveal sort of story.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Sinbad is not.
So is that.
Correct.
El Dorado pulls it off better.
I agree.
Sinbad. It's one of those things, like, every time I see it, it just works so well the whole time.
It's off-putting because it's weirdly animated, like specifically like the snow scene. Like it's fun, but there's a lot of
that's
like
what
weird
just rubs
things.
me just the wrong
But that
way.
ending and the way
wasn't
they
good.
set up it potentially having a universe and then never having a universe.
Oh,
the pacing in the first act is also
it's
weird.
more engaging than Chicken Run.
I'll concede to putting it at 5 right now, putting it above Chicken Run, but under Spirit.
Yeah, that's where
I'm
think.
going to lose that one. Yeah.
Hey,
I like it
you
more
got me
every
above
time I
Chicken
see
Run.
it.
You got me above Chicken Run.
And I really like Chicken Run, but now that I think it's because I have a soft spot for those early 2D animated ones, because this is the last one from now on.
Tell me why you like it better than Spirit again.
Why do I like Sinbad?
Yeah.
Well, I connect to it more. I think both endings are strong, but the Spirit ending does make me laugh really hard when they do that. I know I said it just kills me.
It's kind of
Sinbad is
silly.
like one where I actually get emotional. I think that's why. Plus, I just have more fun.
I don't know. For me, just
It's still that doesn't put it. Yeah, I can't.
I think we're going to agree on that.
It's
one.
personal bias. I said I'm going to lose this fight.
Yeah, because when I think about Spirit, I think about that scene where what's the horse goes over the waterfall and is basically dead.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know. That's right. You said
And you don't
you
know
weren't
it
sure if she's
until-
going to be okay.
Yeah.
You don't see her till the end of the movie again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That really, really hooked me in
I
that
think
movie.
I think there's more emotions in Spirit than there are in.
It matters.
Despite Matt Damon.
All right, so
Yeah, that happened. I was just saying the thing with Sinbad, like, they're straight up going to behead him. And I was like, he doesn't save himself. Like, Eris stops it because he
I think they
proves
did
himself
better. I think you're right. I think they did better with endings with the 3 or 4 2D animated ones.
Yeah, all of them have good endings.
they do.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, put in number 5.
Yep.
All right. I'm just gonna let you know.
Here
right
we
now.
go.
I'm just
Here
gonna
we
let you know
go.
right now.
Oh,
There you go.
boy.
So we have
Oh,
Shrek
boy.
2, the first sequel on this list, which will bring into play how they tend to do sequels better, except for
Yeah.
and maybe a couple others. But
Every other sequel is better than Spirit 2. But Shrek 2 is the best movie they've ever made.
No.
Yeah.
no, that's Sing 2. I understand the where you get them mixed up. I know.
Yeah.
Funny
They
how-
both start with an S and have a 2 in them.
It's pretty much the same
Yes.
movie at that point.
I don't know. Shrek 2 doesn't have Bono.
Exactly.
Yes, but it has who sings the
If
I
you
Need a
don't
Hero.
even know the name, doesn't that hurt your point?
Bonnie Tyler. Is that right, Bonnie Tyler?
I need a hero. Yeah, I think that's right.
But she doesn't sing it in the movie. Because that'd be Jennifer Saunders
That's
singing.
Jennifer Saunders. That's right. But still,
Does she sing it in the Idol thing?
that's good. Oh,
that
the-
Shrek 2 has Far, Far Away Idol. That's all you.
That's not part of the movie.
You can't count that as part of the
Yes.
movie.
That is not part of the movie.
That's all I need.
That's not part of the
That's
movie.
the
That is a
nostalgia for the
separate
DVD
thing.
that you're talking about.
That
there.
is technically
you can't
a
count
short
that.
film.
I'm still gonna
Who do
argue.
you think you are? Far, far away. You can count the after credit scene because that's still part of the movie.
Okay.
But not something completely separate that you access with your DVD remote back in the day, and then you vote. That's not part of the movie.
Okay. I still think it's number one. I still think Shrek 2 is just from how they built upon Shrek. Like it was such a mind-blowing new thing that nobody was ready for.
See, you say that,
It
but
was.
across the board, its numbers are lower except for the box office. The box office is going to be bigger because the first property was big, and when your following property is good, it usually makes more. But everything else critically was lower.
Doesn't it make the same style jokes as like the?
I think
like,
it improves
it does,
on
but
them.
it improves on them. Like it's, I don't know how the writers just managed to do it. Like I said, Shrek came out and it just blew the doors down. Like it just. It flipped.
Shrek was a game changer.
It flipped the classic fairy tale script on its head, and it did it in a really smart way. And then Shrek 2 comes in, and it's just like, you know how we did all those great things? We're somehow going to make them better. The jokes are wittier. The story is so much better. The characters are even more memorable. You get the king, you get the queen, you get Puss in Boots. You get
What
Shrek
are the
as a
king and queen's names?
King Harold, Queen. Oh my God, it's Harold and.
So memorable. I'm just picking on. I'm picking on you.
You know, it's the king, the queen, fairy godmother, Prince Charming.
What's the queen's name? I'm still waiting. I know.
I can't remember.
I know, and I'm not going. Oh, it's number one. He's flipping through the
That's cheating,
binder.
man.
Queen Lillian.
I'm touched that you went through the binder, but also
I'm just
you
saying,
couldn't memorable characters like the queen.
But you just know them as the king and queen, as mom and dad, aka mom and dad. Like it introduces so many new people. It sticks with them in your memory so hard.
Just not their full name.
Listen,
I know I'm picking
I
on
don't
you.
know the full
This is
name
a
of
good
half
movie.
the movies that I've seen in my entire lifetime. I don't have a good memory, Jared.
I know.
Yeah, but
isn't
if you've seen this movie so many times
And think it's the best movie ever.
I do.
Then
Absolutely.
how'd you not even remember a minor character's name? Like, side character, yeah, I
Because
guess.
what
but
stands
like,
out to me is not the characters' names. It's what they
Oh.
do with the characters'
Oh.
names. It's what they do
what did they
with
do
them.
with the queen?
She was, honest to God, she was a big emotional support for Fiona. Like, she was there trying to help her through when her husband left. And they're just trying to figure this thing
barely. She
I-
actually doesn't have. I bet you she has like
She has more
6
in
minutes
the
of screen
like.
time.
She has more in the third one.
Yeah, she breaks
they
a
break
wall
out of
down
the
with her
thing.
I do
forehead.
realize that. Now, no, I was kind
Yeah,
of
she kind of doesn't do much in this.
I was making that up just a touch. The Queen doesn't do that a lot. But, regardless, I still think this is better than any of them. I know you're going to disagree. I know this is going to end up at number 2, but there's my point.
So, I think I'm gonna probably be the tiebreaker here. Explain to me why Prince of Egypt, and just because you've not had to defend it at all, explain to me why Prince of Egypt is better.
I feel there's an emotional connection in Prince of Egypt that yes,
Is
if you're
that
more
because
religious.
Yeah.
That connects. But I feel like there's still they approach it in a less religious way, in a more historical context. They still have the what would they call supernatural stuff in there. But I feel like because they approached it more as like a human story, that connects to everyone. Because they even have that opening thing you talked about at the beginning of the movie. Also, that's some of the best animation ever. Not just the big stuff, but I'm talking about the facial expressions. You get so much character in that movie. You get character in Shrek 2, it's a different kind of character, and that's not bad on either part. I'm just saying Prince of Egypt is one of those masterpieces. Just for how it pulls it all off. Because I get choked up watching it. And that's well into adulthood I'm getting choked up. And the music is so good.
Were you going to raise your hand?
No, I was just saying that I really do think that the reason why Shrek 2 is better for me is, again, it just comes down to I didn't really care about it just because I'm not a very religious person. I think that is a big factor. And I can see Jake is torn.
Because you're right. Shrek 2 is a great movie.
Yeah.
And I honestly think it deserves to be at 2.
Me too, right now at least.
At least you only have to write in a 2 for that.
That's true. Hey.
Ah.
So is that what we're doing? We're putting it at 2 right now?
I think so.
I didn't expect to win you over.
Didn't expect 2.
I tried my hardest, but I figured
There might be other ones that you might be able to win us over, but I don't think that Prince of Egypt, I don't think it's moving.
Because I have had other people I know who aren't religious who would put that up there.
Yeah, I mean, Shrek 2 for me,
It's your favorite.
It is.
It makes sense. I was pushing Sinbad because of how much I like it, but
if it's number 2, then I'll take that. It's up there where
it will get moved again.
No, it won't.
We'll get there.
It'll get moved again.
No, it won't.
Yep.
What is going to move it?
I can't ruin the surprise.
Oh my gosh.
We got to get to Boss Baby yet.
Oh my god. He broke the chalk.
Party foul. Drink.
I feel like I used to eat a lot of chalk when I was a kid, and I'm fine.
Suddenly, everything makes sense. The world is on fire right now, but that makes sense. Dickey ate chalk.
My world's on fire. How about yours?
That's the way I like it. I never get bored.
See, that's why it deserves to be.
That's not.
Okay,
that's
no,
me
it's
remembering the
actually-
song,
Yeah,
which is again older than the movie.
I know.
Okay, next. Next is not a good movie at all.
What's next?
Shark Tale.
Whee!
Oh boy.
Do we even have to put it?
Yeah, it's under ants.
You really think
It's
under
more
ants?
colorful than ants, but
Is it? It's dingy.
I meant the characters and the humor.
I would actually rate it above ants.
Yeah, I was gonna say the animation's about the same quality.
The animation's the same quality, but
So I got to be honest.
Shark Tale is way more memorable than Ants is.
I got to be honest.
It is.
For
It's
the
more-
wrong
For the wrong reasons.
That
but
doesn't make
is.
it better.
I got to be honest here. It upset me because of its stereotypes, and I can't put it above ants.
I can't either.
I guess I'm gonna lose that battle.
I'm sorry, Dickey. I'm trying to fight for you here, but
It
I
says
just
something
think
when you
it's-
rewatch Ants and you're like, okay, it's fine, and then you rewatch Shark Tale and you're like dreading it while you're watching it.
So
But
here's
it's just so hilariously off kilter, and that's what I don't know why it just
off kilter.
Oscar
Do
the
you mean
Shark-
racist?
Yes, Oscar the Shark Slayer stands out to me more than any character in Ants does.
Cool.
That
I don't know. I didn't know what this
Cool story, bro.
I
You
didn't
tell
know
it
what
at
to say.
parties.
I wasn't trying to be mean. I'm like, cool. What do I say to that?
That's why I think it's above Ants. But
See,
obviously,
that's what you say, but Oscar is like the worst character out of all these movies.
Yes,
Like,
but
awful,
he's
awful.
memorable.
I don't know about that.
I think again. I'm
Luca,
already
the
aware that-
octopus, is the only
Here's the
memorable
thing, though.
character in
You
that
say he's
movie.
memorable for being a bad character, but he's not supposed to be a bad character.
He's supposed to be
You're
sympathetic.
supposed to be thinking of him as the hero.
And he doesn't really suffer any consequences.
The only thing that's really
He did for a second.
What?
For
He
a
got chased
second,
around a car wash.
it's-
And guess what? It's all good. What does he say? What does he say? What does Don Lino say? Yeah, we're cool.
We're cool.
He just
I
lied
s-
about killing your kids.
I still feel like
and
it's
got
two
rich
movies
off
that
it?
was smushed into one by a studio. I mean, I can admit that there was probably potential there because the stuff with the sharks is interesting.
Like the Lenny stuff.
I'll concede. I'll put it below Ants.
Also, again, I think I said this in our episode. If I put a belt around my nose to look like a dolphin, my dad would still recognize me.
Okay, that's a.
But
very
you have to name
strange-
yourself Sebastian, the whale washing dolphin.
And paint myself blue, apparently.
Jake, you want me to
different
dump
shade of
blue
blue.
paint all over you? Just call.
All right.
Baby blue, though, because if it was like our foam blue, that'd look weird. You
That
look
would
like Blue Man Group or the guy from Arrested
What's wrong?
Development. What's his Tobias.
Bias.
So we're putting
All
it below
right,
Ants?
Yeah. You can write it in at 9.
Why don't I
What's
just
the
put it
name
at
of the-
40 and get it over with. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to see his reaction. Anyway,
All right. Anyway.
so next we have Madagascar, the 10th movie in the
Interesting.
catalog.
Interesting. This-
The
I'm trying to
weakest,
figure-
I would say, of the Madagascar movies. Because even Jeffrey Katzenberg does not like the end.
Really?
He like straight up, according to stuff I read, he straight up said to them like, yeah, this third act is not good. He was kind of underwhelmed by it. And He's right. The second they get there, the story just stops.
I'm trying to think. I feel like Madagascar is better. I think it's better than Ants and Shark Tale. And I feel like it's better than Chicken Run.
I would not put it better than Chicken Run. I think
that's what I'm torn at right now, if it's better than Chicken Run or not.
Chicken Run actually has a story and is consistent. Madagascar is just cultural references, just hung on a clothesline to a story that barely exists. It's we need to go, we need to get out, and then they go to Madagascar, and that's the movie.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of references. It's almost suffocating. So when you get to that second one and there's not that many, it's very refreshing.
It is refreshing.
It's not a bad movie. I enjoy it. I have nostalgia for it. It's not anywhere near Chicken Run.
We did get King Julian out of it, so.
We did get King Julian.
What did we get out of Chicken Run?
What did we get out of Chicken Run?
That's a good point. I feel like it actually...
I think
it has more staying power than Chicken Run.
Yeah, I think it has more cultural value and therefore should be ranked above Chicken Run.
Just because of, you're right, King Julian, and I know I like
it didn't come from the movie, but
come on. And you're telling me not every single person knows I like to move because of this movie?
It's different, though, because Aardman is much bigger in a different country because it's from a different country. That's the other thing about impact. Here, the impact is much smaller.
Well, how can we comment on the impact of a different country?
Because
we don't live in that country.
That's why I'm saying. That's why it's hard to compare the impact of both, because it's a different country. That's exactly what I said.
We are living in America, so I feel like...
So I think it's hard to compare it on that level and compare it just
as
the movie.
I'm sure there are people outside of America that listen to us, and if you like Chicken Run more than we do, very valid. But I think at least for us, I think me and Jake, I think we would put...
I think I'm putting it above Chicken Run.
Man. I'll adhere to it for how wrong it is. It's wrong.
It's
barely a movie. It's barely a movie.
But
that doesn't mean it's not going to change positions though. So
it probably will get bumped down.
So you want me to put Madagascar 7th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard of
that. I think I don't really have an eye. I wasn't really a fan of either, but
it's definitely not. I mean, I would put it better than Sinbad, but I also didn't think Sinbad should be there.
I don't think
it's mostly gonna move.
I don't think it's better than Sinbad.
Yeah. So we'll keep it at 7. We'll keep it at 7.
Yeah.
I think that is a very fair spot to keep it.
I just realized I have to write Madagascar for all 3 movies multiple times.
No. Yep. For the second one, you can just write Escape to Africa.
I'm not writing that. I'm just going to put a 2.
How about just Escape 2?
No.
Then you do have to write Madagascar for all 4 movies.
I hope you did your hand exercises.
Well, no, I don't. I'm just going to write Penguins.
Yeah, that works.
How is that different than just writing Escape?
Because it doesn't have... I don't know. Because Penguins are cool and much better than that
Then why don't you just write Penguins -3?
Penguins -3?
Yeah.
Why -3?
Why -3?
3 before Penguins. 3 before the first Penguins movie.
Okay, my brain hurts.
I'm looking for the joke.
Hey, I never said it made sense.
Was it a joke?
I don't know yet.
I'm still wondering why.
Waiting for it to dawn on me. I'll get back to you.
Okay, now we go to the next Aardman entry in the DreamWorks catalog, which is Wallace and Gromit to the Curse of the Were-Rabbit. DreamWorks is, I believe, second Oscar win for animated feature, but this one isn't solely them.
This one actually ages, for me, it ages better the more that I look at it and the more that I watch it.
It's a good movie.
I feel like I just enjoy it more and more every time.
What one is it again?
Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Yeah. Wallace and Gromit.
I feel like, or actually, yeah, where would you put it?
What is this face?
6.
6.
I was going to put it at 6 too.
Woo!
Yeah!
See, this is why Dickey can't sit next to me. We agree more.
So you like it better than Sinbad?
I do.
Man,
Me
I'm
too.
Gonna keep losing.
It's more fun. It's more fun.
I disagree, but agree to disagree.
I think 100% it's more fun. It's more memorable. You have him chasing after cheese. Like
cheese.
Like I also am a big fan of cheese myself, so that helps.
Me too.
Cheese is good.
Good cheese.
Do not start talking about Gouda and or whatever. It's Herman Munster.
To quote Dickey, how dare you?
Don't start using his not puns. It never works.
It's working now.
It only works when you're like repeating what I just said, and even then it doesn't work. So it's contradictory.
Okay, sure, whatever. But
I want to put it 6. So you think it's better than Madagascar, which I agree.
Yep.
I'm going to lose that one. So, okay, I'll put it at 6. I like Sinbad a lot better. But I don't know. This rewatch of it, I liked it less. I liked Wallace and Gromit this time around less than the first time.
That's so interesting.
I don't know why.
I
feel like the first 2/3 I was just kind of indifferent. And then the last third, when it ramped up, like, okay, yeah, I do like this.
So it did the exact opposite. You're liking it less, and I'm liking it more after more rewatches.
Yeah. Still, it's a good movie still.
It is. It's just...
I wouldn't have... Again, I said it in the episode. I would not have picked it to win over Howl's Moving Castle for the Oscar.
No. But it's good, but it's not Howl's.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
Oh, my God.
Alrighty.
I feel like I'm going to lose that battle every time, so I'm probably not going to move.
If I'm going to lose the Sinbad battle every time, you're losing the Prince of Egypt battle.
The problem is you don't have much of a leg to stand on with Sinbad like you do with Prince of Egypt.
That is true.
That's very true.
You have a very much more significant leg for Prince of Egypt than you do Sinbad.
It's a very strong, very well worked out leg for Prince of Egypt. For like...
Yeah. Well, it was leg day today. I think.
Every day is leg day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Leg day.
Okay.
Next. One I remember Jake liking more as we talked about it because Dickey and I have childhood nostalgia. Over the Hedge.
This is
one where I'm
going to let you guys battle this out.
I don't think we're going to
I like it better than Shark Tale. I know you love Shark Tale, but I like it better than Shark Tale. I like it better than
I do too.
The chicken run thing is weird because I think, again, this is more consistent than Over the Hedge. Because Over the Hedge is also, just like this, lie or reveal. And I think this does it better.
But Over the Hedge is funnier.
I think Over the Hedge is funnier.
And less problematic in terms of what we say.
That's true.
Like, I'm back and forth because I think Over the Hedge is funnier. Absolutely. But I think
the squirrel by itself is funnier.
It's Bruce Willis's best performance.
It really is. Really, how do you feel about... I guess we have to work through Chicken Run. I think it's... that's tough. I don't know if it's... Now, I know I am trying to...
I think it's better than Madagascar. I think it's number 8.
You think it's number 8?
I think
the thing is, if I'm putting it above Madagascar, I'm also going to put it above Sinbad. Because I don't think Sinbad is that much of a... Jared's loving this. I don't think Sinbad is that much of a step up over Madagascar. So if this is better than Madagascar...
It's just weird how boring, offensive movie you like more than Sinbad. I know you said Sinbad is better, but still, it's just weird.
Sinbad is just forgettable for me. It really is.
It's kind of rough the way they mix the 2 and 3D animation. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Not that Over the Hedge looks great either, but it's more consistent in the animation.
It's more consistent.
And it's funnier.
And that's the thing is, I just keep...
But Sinbad's more fun in itself.
I feel like
but that's my type of movie. I like movies like that.
I just had a better time.
But then that's also...
Over the Hedge.
But then that's also steeped in nostalgia.
It absolutely is. There's no way around that.
Whereas the Sinbad, there is no nostalgia because I didn't see it till I was like 24.
Same. There's zero nostalgia in me for Sinbad.
I'm still going to say number 8.
I'm pushing for number 8, Dickey.
I would push it for number... Okay. If I can get you to go 7, then I'll be happy with 8.
What?
I think it should overtake Sinbad.
I don't. But you just said if I can convince you.
No. If I can't.
Okay, I didn't hear the T. I'm like, if I can convince you 7, then I'll go 8. What?
No. If we're not going to put it in 7, then I think 8 is a fair spot. But I just really think it's more memorable and more enjoyable than Sinbad is.
I do. I'm throwing him a bone.
You agree?
I'm throwing him a bone.
Okay.
Sinbad has a better ending.
That's true.
Okay,
I'll
give you
but
that.
This has.
I don't know about the Exterminator 9000.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay, the Verninator is one of the best characters they've ever come up with. But if anything that hurts the movie, he's not in it enough. He has like 4 scenes.
True.
He's being,
But
especially
the ending
the
explosion.
get her.
I don't know. You just mentioned that ending explosion. I think that might just
Prepare for a lot of stinging. And I do like, do you have an associate's degree from verb tech?
Like, come on, he is gold.
I mean, because I'm gonna be fair with you, Sinbad's gonna fall further.
That is true.
It just is.
That's not staying in the top 10.
But if Sinbad falls further than in theory, so should
Everything else underneath it.
yeah. Which
Yeah.
I don't think Over the Hedge. Well, I know it will actually definitely fall further.
I love Over the Hedge.
But I don't know. I'm okay with
And it's got that darn good Ben Folds song.
it. Stuck in the suburbs. I don't know the more we're talking about it, guys, but it's already written, so we can't really change it.
What?
I was
He
just,
was gonna put it higher because it has Ben Folds in it.
I already wrote it in.
I know. I'm not gonna make you change it again.
I'm not. You couldn't have said it before I started writing them in. Okay, the next one is my favorite of the 3 Aardman movies
this
in
is
here,
gonna be-
which I'm going to straight up say is higher than Wallace and Gromit, and a lot of people don't like it for no good reason. Flushed Away. This is one of the funniest movies DreamWorks ever made, and it isn't even DreamWorks that technically made it.
I 1000%. You know that I'm totally with you on this one.
And
this
Jake
is
loved it too.
This is the one that
I
introduced,
didn't think I was going to.
that introduced me to Dancing with Myself, which is an absolute bop that I will never forget because of this movie. I'm dancing with myself.
How does he do the leg thing? He like sticks his
Right?
leg.
He plays the guitar with his leg like it's so.
He
Is that
sticks
what
it
it
way
is?
up. I can't do that.
Yeah, you're not that flexible.
Otherwise,
Well, I
we're gonna
mean,
have to
you're
switch
not a-
places,
you're-
and you'll do all the writing because I'll be
You're not
hobbled.
I mean, you're not a claymation doll, so
Darn
it
right.
does tend to help. But yeah, Jared, I agree. I think I would put this at 6. I would.
I like it better than Spirit.
Interesting.
Jake, I'm not gonna push too hard because I'm
I
fine with
would-
it being that high, but for now, but I'm pushing on
back
Spirit
and-
with Flushed
I'm
Away.
back and forth. That's
why
a
do
fair
you like
point.
it better than Spirit?
Well, if you went off the funniness of like Over the Hedge over Sinbad, then I'm gonna do it for this because Spirit again isn't going for as many laughs, just like Sinbad isn't going for as many laughs as Over the Hedge or whatever else it was.
But
Wallace
you
and
love-
Gromit, not Over the Hedge, Wallace and Gromit.
What if I say I liked it more than El Dorado?
If you like Flushed Away more than El Dorado, that's an interesting throw.
Wow, I wasn't going that
El
high.
Dorado
but-
has the nostalgia in there for me. That's what hurts.
See,
To put
El
anything-
Dorado, no nostalgia.
That's what I mean. There's no for you.
I
Pushing
don't
down
know if
there,
I-
whereas me, it's all there.
I don't know if I would put it that high. I don't.
I'm
think
gonna
I
go.
could.
I'm.
So Jake's pushing for 4. I'm pushing for 5. And Dickey's pushing for 6. What do we do?
I think 5 is in the middle. I think 5 is fair.
Yeah. So.
After you said.
Well, you
after
say
you-
5's fair.
I feel like
but
I'm gonna-
if we put it at 5, I'm happy. You're kind of happy, and he's not fully happy.
I
It's
don't.
weird.
I don't feel like I'm gonna win the El Dorado fight though, and
Okay.
I'm gonna pick my battles here because there are gonna be other fights that I want to win,
Like Boss Baby.
and that's not gonna be a win. That's just gonna be where we're gonna write it
That's
in.
going to be a decimation.
That's gonna. That's gonna be.
God.
That's gonna be. We're just gonna mute Dickey.
Oh
so
my
5. We're putting Flushed Away at 5.
Yeah.
All right.
If you talk to anyone else about Flushed Away after seeing it, because
No.
I feel like when I talk to people, it's usually I didn't see it or how stupid.
But if Andrea watches this, she's gonna be very upset with me. So hurry up and do it.
I don't know. And the singing is slugs. Like you can't forget the singing.
Yeah.
slugs.
Yeah. Should it go above El Dorado? I kind of want it to. What?
It's not better than El Dorado. Like you have Julio and Miguel. Like those. Like you just those are like. Oh.
Yeah, I just sort of feel like El
just- I-
Dorado's a little bit of an incomplete movie.
I mean, I don't know. I just
I don't
again.
know,
it's the-
I've been arguing about movies being more consistent and complete and losing. So, neener.
Are you done rewriting yet?
Yeah, I can't see that. It looks like an N, so it looks like Madagascar.
Wow, that's almost worse.
I'm doing my best.
Are you sure?
Why do we allow him to be the one that writes this down?
Do we want to go into this?
Because he likes to manage things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're too loud. You could be echoing off this wall worse than me.
That is true. That is a fair point. Well, my handwriting
It sounds
also
like a
is-
prison cell.
Shrek the Third.
Oh.
Yeah, that one should be a little bit easier.
Do we even have to talk about that? Just put it below Ants. You speak carefully.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Put it below Shark Tale.
Oh, wait. It's better than. Come on.
It's better than Shark Tale? You want to get that? You want to go there?
I think it is actually.
It's not better than Madagascar.
No.
No.
It's not better than Chicken Run.
No.
No, this is in the, like probably close to the bottom 5, if not easily in the bottom 5.
Like I said, for me, I feel like it's better than Ants and Shark Tale.
Better than Ants? Ants at least has parts that make me like enjoy life.
I want to say it's worse than Shark Tale.
It's hard because Shark Tale, I can't believe I'm saying this.
Okay.
It's more consistent than Shrek the Third. But Shrek the Third also isn't as offensive.
So there is a little bit of baggage with Shrek 3, given that it's coming off Shrek 2, and it is just so bad.
It's very, very hard to follow up the greatest movie DreamWorks has ever made.
Well, they weren't following up Prince of Egypt with it, so I don't know what you're saying.
If I'm gonna lose, I will lose to Shrek 3, and I would still put it above Shark Tale just because it's Shrek and it has that IP value.
I was going to say the only reason I would put it above Shark Tale is because Shrek the Third has more emotional scenes that work than Shark Tale. You know how many?
Yes.
One. And what scene is it, Jake?
The scene where he's sitting around with Justin Timberlake around
At the campfire.
Yeah, that's a good
The
one.
whole, like, people used to think I was a monster for a long time. I believed him. I remember
Artie,
sitting there.
that's his name.
Yeah, Artie. I was sitting there. I'm like, this movie's not good. That's working. That's actually not.
I've never seen a
And we
movie.
also have the iconic "Did the Roar." So like,
That's in the
That's
fourth,
the fourth
one.
one.
Oh, never mind.
That just speaks on how memorable this is.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Yeah,
this movie's greatest sin is that we've never gone from a franchise that's got such a high of Shrek 2 and so colorful to just feeling like it's dead.
True. That is true. You guys are trying to sway me a little bit more to put
I
it in
think it's under
Tale.
Shark Tale.
You think it's under Shark Tale?
I think it's under Shark Tale.
All right, you swayed me on a Shark Tale. No, you're right this time.
Hooray.
But he's just got to bend over. He doesn't like to do that either.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of bending and kneeling and squatting.
hey, Daddy's got to get stretched.
Next is B movie.
Oh,
Hey, B
God. Number 3.
Number 3. Oh, it's better than Shrek 2.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Come on. If we want to talk about value to culture,
I'm not saying
meme culture is B movie.
It is absolutely glorious.
It's one of those weird things, like, it's not good if you look at it as a movie, but if you look at it as, like, this
Just a meme.
crazy...
It is the origin story of meme culture.
It absolutely is.
So therefore, it needs to go at least at number 3.
I can't see putting this above Shrek 2 and Shrek. Or El Dorado, but
Should we go from the bottom up? We're supposed to be.
Yeah, let's go from the bottom up.
So it's better than Shrek 3.
Yes.
Yep.
Way more enjoyable, way more memorable. Animation's rougher.
Yep.
When that's saying, but still, again,
It's just
That almost makes it better, though.
absolutely
better than Shark Tale. It's not as
Yep.
offensive.
Yep.
Better than Ants. It's way more memorable.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Chicken Run, I don't think so.
I think really
Because I'm
You don't think it's better than Chicken Run?
no.
it's a different kind of enjoyment.
It's fair.
I think this is
It's
where it gets cut off because it is better than these three. I think. What at Chicken
So
Run
you'd
is
put it
better.
at you'd put it at 12.
I'd put it at 12 right now. I just
It's-
think you
it's
can
just
laugh at it and
vastly-
remember it all you want, but at the end of the day, it's not very good. If anything, your mouth's open the whole time, like.
I mean,
what is
I mean, that's
this?
the point, though. It's
It's exactly what it needs to be, but
Yeah.
when we're comparing all these that are already hard to compare, it doesn't amount to much.
I can't argue that.
Yeah.
And again, I
It's
I
only
had
it's
a
only
great time.
it's only thing it can stand on is its meme origin.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right.
And even then, that took a while.
Are we giving it 12? That's
Yeah.
fair.
yeah.
Actually, let's maybe start. I feel like working from the bottom up is a lot easier than just throwing a number at the board.
Yeah, probably.
We were supposed to be doing that, and we just didn't.
Okay, so for the next one, we will do
Can I
that.
at least finish?
Yeah, no, I'm not starting.
We're just adding commentary while you do this because we like to see you bend over like that. What?
We're not just gonna have dead air of just nothing and Jared just rewriting the. It's
ASMR.
I was about to say it's ASMR.
You know what's really creepy?
Dickey.
ASMR of a dog eating and drinking.
That makes me very uncomfortable.
Why do people post that to TikTok? Oh no, it's quicker than that. It's quicker than that. It's weird. It's like dog, and then it's like ooh dog, and then you hear it, and you're like,
that just makes me feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm a dog person, but I don't want to do ASMR of dog eating and drinking. All right.
Correct.
We have Kung Fu Panda.
All right.
I think this is one where I'm going to be pushing harder than Jake for sure because I know Jake is still hung up on the fat jokes.
Still hung up?
Yeah, that's what
I
he
mean,
told
I'm
me.
willing to put it.
Oh, we're going up, remember?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
got to start from the bottom and then work our way up.
Because let's be the first couple of these, it blows way past because the animation's a step up, the story's a step up, and it still holds up on rewatches.
And the cast is a step up.
Mm-hmm.
For most of those.
It's better than Shrek the Third.
Yep.
Better than Shark Two, better than Ass, better than Below, better than Chicken Run, better than Madagascar,
Yep.
better than Over the Hedge, better
Yep.
than Sinbad, better than Wallace and Gromit.
Yep.
This is where we start because I think it's better than Spirit.
Yep.
I would put it above Spirit.
I think it's better than Flushed Away.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's better than El Dorado.
Yep.
I think it's better than Shrek.
I will not falter on Shrek. I don't think it's better than
It's
Shrek.
one of those things like, yes, the animation's better because it's not as old, but also Shrek's, especially on this rewatch, I noticed they don't do a ton with the animation because most of the effort isn't put into it. That doesn't mean it's bad, but when you notice it's very stilted. When you look at Kung Fu Panda,
I agree with you.
beautiful.
The animation in Kung Fu Panda is far better than the first Shrek. But I think, to me, the story of Shrek stands out more than the story of Kung Fu Panda.
I was going to say the opposite.
Yeah, I was going to say the Kung Fu Panda thing.
I was going to say
way
that the
closer to
Kung
home
Fu
for me.
Panda is more of a grounded story and more of a relatable story in the sense of...
I can see how you're saying it's more grounded and relatable.
They're both about self-acceptance.
Yes.
I will say. I
Yes,
feel
they
Kung
are.
Fu Panda does it better because Shrek is more of a... He feels outcasted, so he outcasts himself without trying. Whereas Kung Fu Panda is he's literally being bullied by his peers day in and day out because they don't think he's worthy.
But then again, if we're also honest about this, you and I are both fat, so we might just relate to it more.
I'm chunky too.
You're
So
chunky,
why aren't
but
you
you're
on
not
our
fat.
side? Who do you think
You're
you
not
are?
panda fat.
Jake, if I was closer to you, I'd give you a good old boom. I just feel when I watch Kung Fu Panda, here is someone that he succeeds not by conforming to what he thinks he's supposed to be, but who he is. He fights Tai Lung as a fat guy, and it's funny, but he fights people with his
Oh, yeah,
belly.
he fights as who he is.
True.
That's the same thing with Shrek. And for me, Shrek is... I mean, this is going to be... Again, we're saying statements that we've never heard
but
say before.
every...
I think Shrek is funnier than Kung Fu Panda.
So if we look at the franchise as a whole, which I don't know that we can do that, but I'm going to do that for this. I'm going to do that for this statement.
Well, that's not fair, because then obviously Kung Fu Panda is better.
Yeah.
Every Shrek movie is about Shrek accepting himself.
Yes.
This is really the only one of Kung Fu Panda that I can remember that is specifically about Po accepting himself, and then it moves the story forward.
Yeah. Because the second one is dealing with trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is teaching others. Each movie takes on a different motif.
Now, getting back to on the Kung Fu Panda level, because it is more overt, I think, and less out there than Shrek, I think I'd put it above it. I wouldn't put it above Shrek 2, I don't think. But I would put it
but
above
I know,
Shrek.
I know. I'm going to take that. If I can get it above Shrek, I think that's good enough for me, even though I personally put it higher than Shrek 2. I don't think
Why
I'm
would
gonna
you
win
put it
that.
higher than Shrek 2?
That's a personal thing.
Okay.
Well,
'Cause I can
all
separate.
This is us fighting fighting for our own.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm getting some pretty big pushback from
I don't know.
my
I
personal-
got some pretty big pushback on B movie, and that was
I'm
my
gonna say pretty
personal
big
too
pushback
right
for
there.
Shrek, so it's all fair.
Yeah, I mean,
It's all
See, it's all
it
balancing out.
is. It's balanced.
So we want to put Kung Fu Panda third?
I think so.
I'll
I
concede
just
to
again,
that.
I'm not gonna win that battle with you.
Okay.
I'd put it over, but I'm not gonna win that because if I can get it between the Shreks, split the Shreks there, then
I'll
I will.
concede to that. I will let it happen. I will let it be.
Well, yeah, because you're gonna have a lot harder fight with Shrek
There's
2
going to be a
for
lot
some of the ones coming up here.
harder fights coming up.
Boss Baby in particular.
I swear to God.
okay. So next we have Madagascar Escape to Africa.
All right. You want to work your way up from the bottom?
Well, first let me fix the bottom.
It's Shrek 3.
Shree.
It's pronounced Shree. Heard you just right before me, Jake. I'll give you that credit. Well, it's the best of the trilogy, in me and Jake's opinion. We had to spend 50 minutes explaining to you geography.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm not.
What is a
it's
continent
not
again?
my strong suit.
What is a continent again,
I know what
Dickey?
a continent is.
Okay.
Again, funny how the Madagascar series, there's 4 movies, and they're on the titular island for like a half hour.
Yep.
That's...
They could have. They really could have called it anything else, honestly.
I would actually, yeah. Forget the Woody Allen movie. Anything else. That is the name of the new... Anything else, yeah.
There you
Oh,
go.
everyone hates that movie anyway.
I've never seen it.
Well, me neither. It looks bad. Anyway, so Madagascar 2. Sorry, Escape to Africa.
Yes.
It's better than Shrek 3.
Yep.
It's better than Shark Tale.
Yep.
Better
Yep.
than Ants.
Yep.
Yep.
It's better than Bee Movie.
Yep.
Yep.
Here's where I wouldn't say it's better than Chicken Run, but I think it's better than the first one, so I have to automatically say that for the sake of this ranking. So it
Interesting.
is higher on the ranking and inferior to Chicken Run. There we go. And then Madagascar 1, it's better than Over the Hedge. Is Madagascar Escape to Africa better than Over the Hedge?
That's a good question.
I love Over the Hedge. Madagascar 2 has more going for it because it actually, those stories get cluttered
has
in the
more
middle.
emotions
They all
to it.
come together.
100% has more emotion to it.
You can relate to it more because you're just, as opposed to just watching random animals, you're seeing a family dynamic from those animals emerge and
Yeah, I think
get
it's,
taken away and
think
come
it's better.
back. And what is that like to...
Yeah, I think it's far superior than Over the Hedge. Now that I think about it,
Okay.
it's
Not gonna win this
it's
one.
better than Sinbad.
It's better than Sinbad.
I disagree, but I'm not voted. Wallace and Gromit, is that where we draw the line?
Yep, that's where I draw the line.
So we're putting it at 9?
Why is it not better than Wallace and Gromit?
I think Wallace and Gromit has I think the Madagascar 2 has better emotions than Wallace and Gromit. I think Wallace and Gromit is a tighter, more
Consistent. We're getting back to consistency. That
Mhm.
seems to be a theme of this.
tighter and consistent, and it dips a lot less than Madagascar dips, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I think the ending of Wallace and Gromit is stronger despite Madagascar 3's ending being good. It's a lot of heavy lifting to get there because the middle of that movie gets really busy.
Okay,
And I
so,
remember this rewatch thinking like,
so you're...
how does this work again? When it ties up, I go, okay, that's working. Whereas Wallace and Gromit is a little more straightforward.
So
To
you're...
me, like, and I know I said this before, Wallace and Gromit just gets better over rewatch, and for me, it's a very tight. There is not a lot of dragging, and I feel like
And it is more visually interesting.
It is.
So you're in agreement that it's at 9?
Yep.
I think so.
Okay.
So that was Madagascar 2. And our next one is the one I had at the bottom for a long time until a certain 2021 movie came out. Monsters versus
Aliens.
Nothing movie. It's not even Monsters versus, it's Nothing versus movie.
There was
This is barely
alien
a
in
movie.
there.
It's what?
There was an alien in there.
And I guess there was more than one alien in there because he makes a bunch of clones of himself,
Oh, that's a
doesn't
good
he? Yeah.
point. There were.
That's the thing, is the collective...
But the whole monster versus aliens thing is basically
It's Monster versus
Gigantic
Alien.
Girl versus aliens
Yeah.
in
yeah,
space.
the others don't really do much.
No, they really don't. The one blue dude eats stuff, and I guess that's kind of funny.
That was a horrible Seth Rogen.
But I
the
guess
best I
I
can
guess
do.
I guess I'll start with this as a thought.
Is it better than Shrek 3?
I don't think so.
No.
'Cause at least Shrek 3 has bits and pieces that remind me that it is worth something. It's not much. Monsters vs. Aliens has a great premise, and they do nothing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. As much as I wanted this to subvert my expectations, and as much as it kind of did with the way it handled Gigantigirl, is that her actual name?
Gigantor or Susan.
Susan. With regard to her character, as much as it kind of did, it also dropped the ball once it did that, and
It didn't do much for me.
They went on the bridge, and then nothing happens till they go to the ship.
Well, they skip past the most interesting parts, which is her trying to exist with her family
Right.
in lieu of taking her away, and
That would have been a lot more interesting to.
yeah.
And they make Paul Rudd unlikable. How do you do that? I said that in the episode too. How do you make Paul Rudd unlikable?
Like
that
this?
is a American crime. You should be thrown in jail.
That's it. American Crime Story. Monsters versus Aliens.
I like it. Yep, it's 18. It's not.
Yeah,
better than
you agree,
anything
Jake? Bottom of the barrel, technically, right
Are
now.
we putting it above Spirit Untamed, or are we putting it below Shrek 3?
Everything is above Spirit
else.
Untamed.
Everything is above Spirit Untamed.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's that's the basement. That's the
There
low
is
water.
nothing. There is not a single movie on this that I would put below Spirit Untamed. There's not a single one.
FVA, I'm gonna write.
Yeah.
It
That works.
doesn't deserve more than that.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Again, people, if you love that movie, cool. I don't know what to say. I'm trying not to
Good
sound bad.
for
I
you.
don't know what's likable about it, but I'm glad someone likes it.
Yeah. What part are you?
Oh boy!
Oh, here we
I gotta
go.
stretch my hand out to get ready to write this in pretty high
This
up.
is gonna be a high one.
How to Train Your Dragon. In my opinion, it's the second best movie they've made.
It's not.
Go up in the bottom.
Yep.
Do we even have to go up from the bottom?
We've been going.
Okay,
We've decided that that's the way we're doing it.
I know.
So it's easily better than Monsters vs. Aliens
Yes.
and Shrek 3
Yes.
Yep.
and Shark Tale
Yep,
and,
yep,
and
yes,
B
yep,
Movie
yes,
and
yep,
Chicken Run
yes,
and
yep,
Madagascar
yes,
Over the Head
yep,
Sinbad,
yep,
Madagascar 2, Wallace and
yep,
Gromit,
yep,
Spirit,
yep,
Flushed
yep,
Away, El
yep,
Dorado,
yes.
Shrek.
Yep.
It's better than Shrek.
It is.
It's better than Kung Fu Panda.
It is.
It's better than Shrek 2.
It is.
Now, I know this is Jake's pick for their best. I know me and Jake had swapped 1 and 2s on our personal lists.
The
But
thing is,
I'm not pushing it for number
consider-
1, but I'm pushing it for number 2.
I consider the second one better than the first one.
Ah, so 2 movies better than Shrek 2.
No. I was saying I think that is better than this, so I don't feel comfortable putting this
Gotcha.
one that high.
I just think it is,
I will.
outside of Prince
I
of
will
Egypt,
put it
their
above-
best told story and their most tightly wound movie. There is no wasted time. There are no wasted characters. Everything fits so well. And when there's just so many little moments too you catch.
I love it. I really like this. I'm really torn right now.
Now, why do you think the second movie is better than the first one? I know we're not talking about the second movie, but for this part, just real quickly,
I just
what
think-
makes the second movie better, despite it, in my opinion, not being as consistent?
I think it hits higher emotional waves. I think Stoic passing away and them finding his mom hits emotionally harder than anything in the first movie. And I think it expands the world way better than the first movie does. And those two things alone are what just sends it over the top for me.
You can't do the world expanding thing because that's what sequels do.
It
In
is.
the first movie, that's not its job. It's really hard to compare those when
Okay.
that's not the point of the first movie.
Okay.
First movie is set up.
Then I will say it's just the emotional waves for me. It just feels a lot more. It hits a lot harder than it. I like the first one. The most emotional parts for me is like Hiccup just like trying to be like Stoic and just like that relationship between Hiccup and Stoic is what's emotional in the first one. In the second ones, it's Hiccup and Stoic. It's Hiccup and its mom. It's Stoic and his their wife and his wife. And so like that.
What's her name? Man.
You want me to
Man.
do it?
Yeah, what's her name?
Valka.
Yep.
Oh god, I knew that, but I forgot it.
Again,
But
I'm going to
that is
say,
what-
though, the first movie at least doesn't have pointless characters. Because the second movie, they have nothing to do. His old schoolmates have nothing to do except tell the villain where to
I
go.
cried in the second one, and I not.
I
cried in the
will
first
say
one.
that the first one did not make me stand up in rage like the second one did.
That is true.
Like
That's
that second one grabbed me when
It hurts.
yeah.
Like that's
I still think that first one is just
so,
a bit better. It's close.
Just keeping that in mind. I will
3.
I will see 3. I will. Absolutely.
I'm pushing for 2 still. I think it's better than Shrek 2.
I am very.
We were talking
okay.
comparing the 2 How to Train Your Dragons, but I think that first How to Train Shrek 2. I think
so. The problem, I think the problem Dickey's running into here is if he puts it at 2, and then he
tries to put the second one higher than that.
Yeah.
It's pushing his beloved down. So this isn't focusing on the movies. This is focusing on what you want.
Listen,
but it is very subjective, isn't it?
Oh,
that's all what this is.
I know this is objective. Yeah, movies are subjective with many objective parts of them. We established this. You can separate the two. It's very hard. We can still do it. And when you said you don't have to do it, what if we want to do it? You want to keep that Shrek 2 up that high.
Yeah.
And we want to actually separate, because like Sinbad, I have a ton of bias for it, but yeah, I'm losing this because it doesn't stand out.
This is me starting to lose Shrek. That's what this is.
Yeah, I'm pushing for that 2 spot for How to Train Your Dragon. I think when you think of the 2 movies that epitomize DreamWorks, it's their early masterpiece. And then what is the epitome of what they've been putting out for the last
Why is
decade.
Prince of Egypt better?
Why is Prince of Egypt better?
Yes. And a non-sarcastic answer, please.
Non-sarcastic. I feel it's more powerful. I think How to Train Your Dragon's scope is smaller and it's hard to compare them. But I think Prince of Egypt makes you feel. It's hard.
But is that because of your religion?
It might be.
Because I was going to say, now that you mentioned how it compares to Prince of Egypt, I would put How to Train Your Dragon above Prince of Egypt. But I wouldn't put it above Shrek 2. So their issue.
If you're going to put it above Prince of Egypt, you automatically have to put it above Shrek 2.
Exactly. I realize that. How are you feeling about that? Would you put it above Prince of Egypt?
I think it is my favorite DreamWorks one.
Because I know
like
once we get to How to Train Your Dragon 2, I'm going to vote for that to be the higher.
Yeah.
It's hard when Prince of Egypt and the first How to Dragon don't have really any fat to cut. I also think Prince of Egypt is more consistent tonally, because How to Train Your Dragon, all 3 movies do the thing where they adhere more to the children. And they have to, but also like Prince of Egypt doesn't. That's the other thing. I think when it gets to the nitty gritty, I think Prince of Egypt is a step slightly above How to Train Your Dragon in that aspect.
What do we think about that?
I think How to Train Your Dragon.
I think
he's conflicted.
I'm so conflicted.
I just think
Prince of Egypt is more timeless, for sure. How to Train Your Dragon is more relatable.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Absolutely.
At a ground level, it's more relatable, right? And it is a game changer for DreamWorks.
Absolutely.
In a way that Prince of Egypt was not.
Absolutely.
In a way that they maybe wanted Prince of Egypt to be, but it was not.
I mean, because looking at all of these animated movies, the only one that I can see close to Prince of Egypt is
If you say Turbo, I'm gonna kill you.
No, I was gonna say Spirit, and that's just on merit of animation style, because I think those are the 2 best looking.
Yeah, we ranked El Dorado higher.
Oh no, but I'm not talking about
You're talking animation.
Just pure. The
Spirit does it too. The same thing El Dorado and Sinbad do. There's some weird spots with the animation mixing. The opening shot is great.
It's just
there's
the
less weird spots with Spirit than there is with El Dorado, because they tried to
Dorado, it's the barrel.
It's the barrel, but it's the way that they like did the backgrounds.
Yeah.
I
honestly, you have me leaning towards putting this number 1.
I'm putting How to Train Your Dragon second for me. I think
Jake
totally Prince of Egypt is just a step above it.
Jake won me over.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying Jake won me. I'm fine with putting it number 1.
I know it
is your favorite. So
here's the deal. Here's the deal. I want to put it at 1. I really do. I'm gonna be honest with you. But if I put it at 1, I'm gonna have to put How to Train Your Dragon 2 above that.
Right. That's exactly what my mind is going
Which
through.
is a problem, because I don't necessarily think that How to Train Your Dragon 2 pushes Prince of Egypt that far down. I don't know, because some of these are just at the same level to me. Like when you asked me to do my own ranking so that you could see how ours compared.
You had How to Train Your Dragon 1 higher than 2.
Yeah, and that's just it. I don't remember it, and as I'm thinking about these, they all, some of them just sit at the same level to me. Like How to Train Your Dragon sits at pretty much the same level as Prince of Egypt. The only thing that puts it above for me is I just liked it a little more.
Then work it. That's number 1 then.
But Jared's gonna cry if we dethrone Prince of Egypt.
It's one of the greatest animated movies ever made.
Let's make Jared cry. Let's do it.
I don't know the answer to this.
I'm going when you get to the nitty gritty. I gotta push tonal consistency because story consistency. They're both just about flawless. I say just about because I'd have to actually sit down and watch both again and analyze it.
I feel like How to Train Your Dragon. God.
Tonally,
you did a good job convincing me.
I didn't mean to, but yeah.
I'm just going tonally now because they are tonally different, but I do feel How to Train Your Dragon does adhere to humor that doesn't always work, whereas Prince of Egypt is pretty consistent.
I disagree. I think the How to Train Your Dragon humor works quite well.
I didn't say it didn't work well. I think there are times it doesn't always work.
I did not feel that with it. I felt like every single joke, whether I was laughing out loud or just a small chuckle, it still brought some kind of laughter out of me.
I'm just still pushing Prince of Egypt as 1.
I think
because I still put How to Train Your Dragon 2 below the first one.
I think
and that one's even when you talk about humor and consistency or consistency. That second one again, they have those characters that are there for the humor and don't add much.
I just feel like How to Train Your Dragon just kind of like what you said. It just resonates more with you. You can relate more to the characters in How to Train Your Dragon than the characters in Prince of Egypt.
I wonder,
and I think that is exactly what carries it over.
I wonder, like he said, because again, they're both at the same level for me. They honestly are. I wonder if the religion aspect of Prince of Egypt narrows the scope of that just enough to, because it doesn't connect with Dickey. It doesn't necessarily connect with someone who looks at that and says, that's just a fairy tale.
That's exactly
whether or not we think it is or not.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. I don't know.
That's exactly what I'm coming from. I think it should be number 1.
I disagree. I still do. I'm gonna keep
How are we
disagreeing.
gonna solve this? Because I can't break.
You
the
have
tie.
to.
I can't
this
break
is
the
tie. This is between me and Jared right now, and we need someone to break this.
I need you guys to wrestle then. Whoever comes out on top, there you go.
I'm trying to think of more stuff to talk
on top.
Because both have a family dynamic because it's Stoic and Hiccup, but that Ramses Moses connection, which is not biblical in the way they present it, they made them closer.
It was just
than the text,
it was just
and the way they do
drama.
it is so heartbreaking.
But so
because
is
every time that one's a different feel. I wouldn't call it heartbreaking because they do resolve it in a way where both there are great ones. The Prince of Egypt thing is hard because you can tell, especially when Moses goes back after that last plague, and he's trying to, or right before the last plague, and he's trying to talk to him, and for a second they are brothers again, but they just can't line up. And you can see
it in their eyes too.
Yep, and what I also appreciate is the anti-slavery message in Prince of Egypt. They don't shy away from that, because I feel like they could have really dumbed that down because, hey, this is supposed to be for kids. And they don't. They're like, hey, this is really bad. This is really wrong. And you have that in the center between these two brothers who aren't actually brothers by blood. And that last scene when he tells him to go, you can tell he wants to hate him so bad and can't in the moment. And then it just explodes. And that's why he wants to kill them all. Because he's just so consumed by grief. That's what I think I think there's layers to that are a bit more powerful, because the layers to the Stoic Kick-Up stuff is still really good, because I think both are relatable in different ways. One's scope is much bigger. It's especially that scene before that last plague where he's begging him not to do this because he knows what's going to happen. And I know I'm the only one in here that has a brother. That's why I'm pushing it hard. They put a human aspect in there. They could have just gone by closer to the text, and it would still be good. But I think that the core of it between the two of them, the dynamic, especially the juxtaposition of when he first arrives coming back from Egypt, when they recognize each other, and then when he leaves, when it's flipped because he realizes, hey, you gotta let them go, and he's like, I'm not gonna be the one that undoes the dynasty. Like, you have that aspect of the character too. I just think there's so much in the core of that movie that puts it, again, slightly above.
So is there going to be... So you're at the end of this entire ranking. This is your number one.
This is my number one.
Because I would consider How to Train Your Dragon 2 better than this. This is the second one, not the first one. The second one.
And I know we're not at that one yet, but I still have the things that bump the second one below the first one for How to Train Your Dragon. I think that first one's just tighter.
Jake, we really need a tiebreaker here.
I can make an argument for either one, though.
I know. It's hard.
Can we, do a slash How to Train Your Dragon?
No. That's not how these work. It has to be 1 and 2.
I have to choose?
Yes.
Can I flip a coin?
Put it to chance? Because then no matter whoever loses is going to be mad because it's a chance flip.
Well, it's better than me picking one of you.
I'm pushing.
Jared's going to be look at me and be like, well, I went with you to get my new base.
He's going to start pulling out all the fighting words.
I do accept bribes, guys.
All right, what have we
Just
got
saying.
here? You want a new phone? Do you want...
A new phone.
He gives me his phone before his water bottle.
Do you want these 4 batteries that are in my pocket?
Ooh.
I don't know. I think but again, the issue with me is if I put How to Train Your Dragon 1 number 1, then I would want 2 just to top that.
I don't want to do that just because I don't want Prince of Egypt to fall that far because I don't. That's what it's. I don't know. I wish I had watched it within the past year.
I mean, it has been less than a year. Just
not much less than a year though.
We started watching in February.
Yeah, I'd probably.
And I saw it again since after that.
Okay, fine. It's a stalemate. I'll let you put it at number 2.
Put what at number 2?
Dragon.
Do you agree, Jake? I'm pushing as hard as I can.
You're gonna have to cave on something else.
You are.
I know I will, but I also will try to push for Dragon to stay at number 2.
Because I'm gonna push for the second one to be better than.
I know you're gonna push. We'll get there.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay. Yeah, Dragon 2.
God.
I made such a good argument for myself. I tricked myself. I was like,
I was gonna say all props to you. You're like, man, how do I counter? And I'm like, what was it about the way? Oh, the relationship is at the God, Jared, why don't you do your homework? The whole reason
this is gonna be a lot of rewriting now. He's gotta do the whole board. Like, don't get me wrong. I love movies that mess with your mind. I love getting all cerebral and meta and stuff like that. But
cerebral, that's a Pokemon.
that's Celebi.
That's when you don't have sex.
Pokemon Legends Celibate.
Can we put that? Can we just make that phrase on a shirt? Cerebral, isn't that a Pokemon? No, that's Celebi. Isn't that when you don't have sex? That.
No, it wasn't even a question. It was a confident statement. No, that's when you don't have sex.
I think that should be a T-shirt, 100%. This is an interesting one to see where this is going to
Shrek
land.
Forever After, the 4th movie, the final main Shrek movie so far, and because there's technically Puss in Boots. So the 4th Shrek movie, I think's better than 3. Doesn't come near the first 2, but I, again, on a rewatch, liked it a lot better, but I don't think too much of it.
All right, so let's work our way up. What do we got here?
So it's better than Monsters vs. Aliens.
Yes.
It's better than the 3rd Shrek by
Yep.
far. I thought it was closer to the first time. After the second watch, I was like, this is
better.
far better.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It's better than Shark Tale.
Yep.
It's better than Ants.
Yep.
This is where B movie has more character than it. I think Shrek, the 4th Shrek, is, if we look at like movie consistency and construct, like how it's structured, I think the fourth Shrek is better, but B movie is way more fun to watch.
He's a lot less calculated when he's not in the chair.
Yeah, it's kind of.
He's kind of becoming unhinged.
I kind of like it. I like it a lot, but
I'm a loose cannon over here.
oh boy, but
Loose cannon with the chalk.
I still gotta eat some.
Don't get COVID.
So, this is one where I'll go past it, but I don't want to fly past bee fly.
Hey, you want to
sorry,
past it?
Yeah, I'm just winging it.
In my opinion, I think it is better than B movie.
Okay.
I have more fun with B movie.
Yeah, I'm just making sure I'm not just going right past it.
I feel like it's better than B.
Is it better than Chicken Run?
I think that's where I stop.
I think we stopped there, so we're putting it at 15.
I think we all like
so.
that.
For
one.
now, 15, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But again, because you both have seen it once, right?
Yep.
I've
one
seen it a
time.
couple times by now.
I feel like if you were to, you don't really care for Shrek, Jake, but I feel like if you were to rewatch it one day, I wonder if you go, yeah, this is a lot better the second time.
I don't know. I feel like I didn't connect with the characters when they went to the part where it was more. They made them more what I expected them to be in a fairy tale, versus.
They really went more for the fairy tale stuff in this one.
Yeah. And whereas like the other ones are like.
I feel like they tried
outside, like you said,
they tried
outside.
flipping the script on him, and this one they kind of like went with the script.
But he does cry. That's actually a very well done scene because they don't turn it into a joke right away. Because Donkey's like, "Wow," he goes, "What?" And he's like, "I've never seen an ogre cry," and he's trying to say, "I'm not crying," but they don't play it as a joke. They could have easily made that a joke, and they didn't. They let you sit in that moment for a second because he has realized what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty hard to come back from the whole. So you wish it was back to normal before you rescued me. Exactly. I go. Ooh,
Yeah,
that's hard to recover from.
That was a.
But then again, at the same time, isn't? Oh goodness, was it Shrek 3 with the princesses getting no?
Yeah, the princesses.
That was 3.
The princesses, the ending scene with Charming.
Yep,
was Shrek 3.
Where they kill him.
Yeah.
That was 3.
Yeah.
Right, with the musical at the end.
Yep.
Which people hate, but it makes me laugh pretty hard.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's 4.
I like where we got it right now.
Also, do there are.
Yeah, there are.
Do it. Do it. Dad, he's getting away. You gonna give us a yell, or you want to save your voice?
I don't have any energy to do that. That took so much out of me.
So 15.
15. I like it. We're looking good.
I believe the next one's another great one.
When is the next
Oh
one?
no. When he says that.
No, this is. I don't think there's going to be that much arguing for the next one. I feel like. I don't know. I'll be curious as to how high up it ends up. Let's not say what it is to try to keep some sorts of.
I mean, he can.
Anticipation.
He can just, edit us out.
Oh, he absolutely could edit us out, but I'm going to assume that he won't, and we're just going to keep yapping, and we'll see what he wants to do with it.
Yappity yap.
Let's go!
Megamind, which just resurfaced another meme. It's him staring in the what's it called? Peephole.
I know. I kind of like how Megamind is making a comeback.
Isn't it getting a TV show or a
They
sequel
announced
soon?
something like that, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel because it's so long after.
Let's go Megamind, baby. How high up do you think this one's going to end up?
Well,
let's start at the bottom.
it's better than Monsters vs. Aliens.
Yep.
It's better than Shrek the Third.
Yep.
It's better than Shark Tale.
Yep.
It's better than Ants.
Yep.
It's better than Meme Movie.
Yep.
It's better than Shrek 4.
Yep.
It's better than Chicken Run.
Yep.
Oh, it's better than Madagascar.
Yeah.
It's better than Over the Hedge.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's better than Sinbad.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's better than Madagascar 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's better than Wallace and Gromit.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's better than Spirit.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's better than Flushed Away.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's better than The Road to El Dorado.
Yeah.
That's
I heard
maybe,
an
that's maybe where I would draw it for myself.
You're putting
It's
it
better
there.
than The Road to El Dorado.
I like it better than Shrek.
I do too.
I think that's where I stop. I'd put it at 5. I think Kung Fu Panda is stronger.
Why?
I think it's mainly the animation.
I will give you.
Because Megamind, the animation's fine. It's a little bland.
I
in places.
say, okay.
It's a little bit.
I'm gonna put it above Kung Fu Panda 1
Woo!
because it did a much better job of subverting my expectations than Kung Fu Panda 1
It did
did.
a fantastic job about subverting expectations.
And don't get me wrong, I love Megamind. It's my second favorite of all of these. It used to be my favorite. Like, I pushed for it for years, and then all of a sudden everyone loves it again. It's like, when did that happen?
Long story short, Jared is a hipster.
An unintentional hipster, I feel like. That's a good way to phrase it.
Well, I told you, though. I watched it, and I was in a class in high school, like a math class one day, and I was like, I thought this was going to be dumb. This is great. I'm, like, actually, like, emotional. And no one had seen it.
You know what?
Kung Fu Panda 1, I'm telling you.
I'll put it
the subversion of expectations and the difference in it's not really a lie reveal. It is a little bit, but not.
But it's not the cliche kind.
It's a layered lie reveal, and he actually has to sit in the situation for a hot minute.
That scene in the rain is hard.
Yeah,
to take.
And Kung Fu Panda, while it's not necessarily a lie reveal, it's less serious. That is true. It had less of an impact on me, to be honest.
Dang it, guys. Dang it. I'm changing my mind.
Oh, you're going up?
I think it's more nuanced than Shrek.
I think
it's more nuanced than Kung Fu Panda 1.
Gotcha. I won't
put it at 4.
Yeah, I won't put it above Shrek 2.
No, I think 4.
I'll adhere to the 4th spot because hearing him saying something's above that first Shrek.
Going through my mind, I love the first Shrek. I truly do.
We know
there's not a whole lot of nuance in it. It's pretty in your face, like
which is where the Megamind
And the way Megamind teaches you the lesson and subverts the expectations as opposed to picking one or the other.
Nuance is just the word that comes to my mind.
Yep.
I think it just does it.
Get back, you savages. Kills me every time.
You know the difference?
It's true, he's not used to that.
You know the difference between a super villain and just a normal villain? Style. Or no.
Presentation. Man, you can't remember people's names. You can't remember one line.
Are
you okay? You're almost out of water,
too. I need more water.
You need more brain juice.
You're going to need to pee here in a minute.
I definitely have to pee in a minute here.
So we got Kung Fu Panda 2 next, which is near and dear to my heart. Almost cried 3 times. This rewatch.
It's better than the first one.
It is better than the first one. And
can we put it above Prince of Egypt? What?
I did not put it above Prince of Egypt. I put it pretty high.
I would put Trainer Dragon 2 above it. But we're not there yet.
There we go.
Yeah. I don't think since we're doing those recaps, I don't think we have to go from the whole bottom up on some of these because this one
this one's pretty self-explanatory.
We can at least jump to 10 for sure. Like it's better than Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good starting point.
Better than Blush, better than Dorado, better than Shrek, better than Kung Fu Panda 1, better than Megamind.
I think it's better than Shrek
2.
I'm sorry, Dickey. This one. Yeah. It does what the sequel should do, just like Shrek 2, but man, does that go deep into his character. A lot deeper than it does any character in Shrek 2. And dealing with trauma and making it accessible to kids without dumbing it down, that's hard. Especially, it's that moment
Is it better than How to Train Your Dragon 1?
I don't think so.
I think it is.
You think Kung Fu Panda is better than the first How to Train Your Dragon?
Kung Fu Panda 2
is better than the first How to Train Your Dragon?
Yes.
I think this is one of the things that people brought up when it came out that I was like, why is that a big deal, is the humor. And I think since we've compared the humor so much, that is the one thing it lacks because it's going for something else.
It does not. This is not a
funny movie. Yeah. But I do think this does balance that better than Kung Fu Panda 2 because there's still humor there and not all of it works.
But again, I will stand, and I know we were talking about humor, but I will go back to the same argument that I had for How to Train Your Dragon 2, whereas Kung Fu Panda 2, that not only smacks you over the head with emotionalness, that almost kills you because it's just so emotional and because it makes you hurt in every way possible that you know. And because it's that good at making you feel, y'all are getting me to turn over this on Shrek. Like, I really do think this is better than How to Train Your Dragon 1. I really think this is better.
I know I didn't put it that way on my list that I sent to you, but
because I like it better. It's my third favorite out of this whole thing because of how it hits me emotionally. But I've always pushed that higher than it just barely. I think it was third on my my list when I first finished watching all these. And
I think it's better than How to Train Your Dragon. I think it's a tighter told story. I think there are more stakes.
That's what. Yeah, you're right. It feels like there's more stakes in this too.
I still push Prince of Egypt first over it. I still do.
I'll give you that because I'm going to push hard for How to Train Your Dragon 2. I'm going to push really hard for that one.
I'm still pushing hard for Prince of Egypt to be the best.
And I will abstain.
I'm comfortable with this being number 2.
I'm cool with it being 2 or 3.
I'm cool with it being 2.
Okay,
so number 2?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And How to Train Your Dragon is like my favorite one, so...
Okay, so now we got the 5th Shrek movie, which is a spin-off, which has its own TV show and sequel coming soon, Puss in Boots. Woo! I know during the episode, as we talked about it, we started remembering things we liked, but I think overall it's pretty forgettable.
Pretty meh. Yeah.
Again, good pieces. The Humpty Dumpty twist is what kind of undoes it, because they actually had something decent going, and then they kind of just...
And like, it made you question everything about it, and it just made it even more confusing than it has ever being.
And Jake said
it was one of those things where you don't know if it's a joke or if it's like a part of the plot, and it's like...
It seemed like do they really think that through?
Like, if you compare it to something that did maybe something kind of comparable with Boss Baby, like, I know you were questioning what was real and what wasn't, but at least you knew if it was supposed to be funny or not.
Oh, yeah. You know, this was just weird.
But Puss is always a good character.
He is.
I'll give it that. And some of the animation and action is fun. The Humpty Dumpty animation is not. That is very creepy.
His face is very
Especially when he curls up his face like...
Isn't it Zach Galifianakis?
That is Galifianakis, yeah.
Yeah, the voice acting's fine. It's just ugly looking character.
Very, very not good thing to look at. Yeah. So where do you think this one lays?
So... It's better than Monsters vs. Aliens.
Yep.
It's better than the third Shrek.
Yeah.
It's better than It is better than Shark Tale.
It is better than Shark Tale.
It's better than Ants.
Yeah.
I think I'm putting it below B. I put it at 19. What do you think, guys?
Under B movie?
I would not put it over. I think.
I definitely
put it higher. But
yeah, I would stop at B movie. It's probably.
I know we're contradicting all our lists, but we're going off what we feel right now. Mm-hmm. So 19?
I think, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Gotcha. Well, keep in mind when we're making our own lists,
we're not
really
bouncing
discussing
off anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the list to go by now.
And
any other list anybody else comes out with is wrong. This is...
Yeah, Watch Mojo, we're coming after you.
We're coming after you, Watch Mojo.
And Looper and whatever the hell else that makes lists.
This is the raw, unfiltered... real DreamWorks list.
Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted.
Oh, boy.
I know Dickey pushed this one hard in the episode when me and Jake were trying to say how it's just not as good as that second one.
It's so ridiculous and over the top.
Again,
this is the B-movie equivalent of the Madagascar universe.
First third is the B-movie equivalent of Madagascar, because once they get on that train, it slows down.
It peppers in at the end, like with the Afro Circus and the...
But that's not crazy. That's just colorful. I wouldn't call it crazy. And the ending's good. Remember, we've talked about how their endings tend to be good. Like, when they go back to the zoo, they realize this is what we've been going for this whole time, and we don't need to come back. We've experienced the world. I'm like, that's good. Opening Monte Carlo stuff is good. The part Jake always quotes is really funny. The pillows.
Oh, yeah.
It's the weakest of the three, in my opinion.
The train stuff is boring. I know you already said that, but...
Yeah, and like, again, the story, it's like, well, they're on the train. Okay, they're going to save a circus. Why did they buy it when they could have just
Because they could.
Yep, and then, we don't even know. I know I brought up, it's like,
they're
not even trying.
It was the writers that just kind of said...
And then they just park the train in the mountains and train. Get it? For the circus for a while, like, what is going on? What happened? Like, this movie was really fun when we started. What happened?
Yeah.
So, where are we putting it? It's better than Monsters vs.
Aliens. It's better than Shrek 3. It's better than Shark Tale. It's better than Ants. I think it's better than Puss in Boots.
Are we putting it below B movie again?
trying to think if it's better than B-movie or not.
I think B-movie at least it's
Well, 'cause like I said,
ridiculousness is more consistent because
the ridiculousness is more consistent in B-movie. It absolutely is. Yeah.
I think the story is a little bit more fun too.
In B-movie.
Yeah.
Again, there's actually more of a story.
All right.
That third one is kind of like, let's just save a circus. Oh.
Well, I mean, no, I'm not going to compare it because if I compare it, I'm going to talk myself out of it.
Yeah. We're sticking with number 19.
Yep. So. Oh.
Yeah, this is not
Rise of the Guardians. The most excited I was for a movie I hadn't seen before in this catalog. The first one, I think, or like the second one I had not seen or something like that.
It was okay.
What? It's in the same vein of Monsters vs. Aliens, a great idea that they just don't quite deliver on, but it's much better than that.
Oh, I would say it's far superior than that.
The look is nice.
I do like
animation's good.
Because didn't you say Guillermo was helped out with
Guillermo
design?
helped with the creature design. Roger Deakins helped with the cinematography, like the actual shot composition.
And you can tell because it is nice looking.
Yeah. It's one of those where the visuals kind of overpower the story because it just is another team-up movie, which, again, we talked about. It was at the same time the first Avengers was coming out. And it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I'm curious as to where this is going to end up.
It's better than Monsters vs. Aliens.
Yep.
It's better than Shrek 3. Yep. It's better than Shark Tale. It's better than Ants.
Better than Puss.
I'd say better than Puss Boots.
I think it's better than Madagascar 3.
We're starting to hit it. Do we put it higher? Are we hitting the B movie ceiling now for these mid to lower tier movies?
The only reason I would say B movie is much better is because it has much more character.
It does. It really does. But Guardians kind of feels bland.
Honestly, I wouldn't even say Guardians is better than Puss in Boots.
I feel like it's better than Puss in Boots. I really do.
I think it's that twist, that Humpty Dumpty twist in Puss that just puts me off.
You are 100% correct. At least for me, that twist just puts a very sour taste in
Now,
me.
how do you feel about Guardians versus Madagascar 3?
You see...
As a Madagascar 3 aficionado, I think it's better.
You see, the thing here is that Madagascar 3 knows what it wants to be.
Absolutely.
Rise of the Guardians kind of doesn't.
I think it does. I just don't think it pulls it off as well as it had hoped it would.
So you're saying Madagascar 3 is better?
No, I think Guardians is better. I think you're right, Jerry. I think it's the B line.
The B movie ceiling for some of these.
The B movie ceiling.
The B ceiling?
The B ceiling.
The B-ling?
The B-ling.
The B line.
I just said the B line.
Literally just said that.
And now you're taking from me, bud.
I didn't hear you because if you're going to ignore
Because
me,
his
I'm going to
hair's
ignore
in
you
his
right
head.
back.
That's probably what it is.
Also, if you're not talking up here in frequency, I can't hear you. That doesn't mean talk louder, but...
Oh, maybe I will.
Talk like this.
Okay, your entire time. I'm going to talk really
Wow, that was dog whistle right there.
Yeah.
So it's under the B line still?
It's under the B line.
Okay.
I like that as the B line. Okay.
Next is The Croods.
Woohoo!
The Croods.
Which I remember Jake absolutely loving.
Yes.
Me being very surprised the first time at how good it was, and the second time being like, yeah, this is still really good. And then Dickey also liking it and having seen it a million times, you said?
I have not seen it that often, but since watching it, I rewatched it a lot more because I just found it very charming and very enjoyable.
It's a good movie.
I had no I literally had zero. I know we talked about this already, but
I thought I was not going to like it at the
expectations
start of
were,
the movie.
On the floor, and I really, really had a good time.
Yep.
I want to see. I'm curious as to how high this is going to
Yeah,
get.
I remember my notes. This is one where I like.
It's one of the only ones that made me cry in this catalog.
What part did you cry again?
When he I forget whether it's Eep or whether it's no, it's Grug. When he reaches out when everything is all dusty because it's collapsed in the earthquake and everything, he reaches out and he reaches slightly above the dust and he's reaching out towards his family.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, no, I remember that. That was a good moment.
Might be one of those I don't have big negatives. but maybe the highs don't go higher than some of the higher up ones.
That's what
if that makes sense.
If we're going up from the bottom, well, if you're going to go up from the bottom, let's go up from the bottom. But let's hit the beeline, as Dickey coined it. Let's hit the beeline from now on. Is it above the beeline? No, then we'll start at the bottom.
It's above the beeline.
It's definitely above the beeline.
Okay, so, and again, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll start at the beeline now, and if it's not above it, then we start at the bottom.
I like that.
So it's better than Shrek 4?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's better than Chicken Run?
Yep.
I think so.
It's better than Madagascar 1? I know
Absolutely.
It looks like Map 1.
Yeah,
Map. A
Map
thing
1.
that's one of us here doesn't know how to read.
Thanks.
Over the Hedge, I think it's better.
I
think it's better than Sinbad.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Madagascar 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Wallace and Gromit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This one's hard because I like Spirit.
I think it's better than Spirit. I think I connect to it more. Personally, I connect to it more.
I'll go with you. I think it was just one. It's not a.
And it takes Ryan Reynolds and it takes the edge off of Ryan Reynolds. It makes Ryan Reynolds
as friendly as you could get.
A human was more than a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that with all the love because I love Ryan Reynolds, but
it's also hard to get him to be family friendly, and I think they did it really well in this.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not like I didn't think it was better. It's just I don't want to whiz past it.
Yeah, no, I think
just making sure we're stopping.
I don't think it beats Flushed Away for me.
I like Flushed Away better. I know the heart at the center of the Croods is better, but it's the personal bias of Flushed Away. It just resonates for me.
Personally, I would put it at 9.
You'd put it at 9. You'd put it above Flushed Away.
Yep.
I don't see this beating Flushed Away for me. I think Flushed Away I think it's the same thing me and Jared are coming from. We have a little bit of personal bias for this one just because.
But I think I just did what Jake kind of did with Junior Dragon, where I'm like, well, the heart's better at Croods. I literally just said it. I'm like,
it is. It's 100%.
Crap. I think I just convinced myself. I'm sorry, Dickey.
It's much more than a road movie.
It is, and I love a good road movie. I've said that many times. Many times.
I guess it does have more heart in it.
Yeah, it's like I'm thinking about
Away.
that heart, especially the tar pit scene. I think is that first point of the movie for me when I was like, this is more than just I think would be a dumb road movie.
But if you're bringing in the heart and the more emotions than we thought it would, is it better than El Dorado? Because it's very similar to El Dorado in that it's kind of like an adventure movie.
So I'm gonna tell you right here. For me personally, it is better than El Dorado. I was going to put it, what did I say, at 9?
Yeah. Because
if you guys were already starting to talk about it at Flushed Away, I wasn't going to fight that hard for it.
Are you going to fight for it over El Dorado?
If we're going to put it above Flushed Away, I think so. I think as a family movie, it is more relatable. Like El Dorado is kind of more fun in that it's the swashbuckling thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But there's a core. I think the core of the movie is more relatable in the Croods. How long has it been since you've related to Nick Cage that hard?
It's been a while.
Probably Abed's sexy cat routine.
The last time would have been Spider Noir.
Spider Noir.
So I mean, like I see the point. I feel like it does have.
And the animation is just.
Animation is good.
Then Dorado, but Dorado has like that. It's that magical, mystical nostalgia mind of mine.
But I don't know.
I'm leaning on Jake, and I like El Dorado better, but the heart of that Croods movie is good. It is real good, especially that third act when it all comes together.
Dang
I think Jake's convincing me.
Are we gonna put it in?
That's as far as I go. I won't say it's better than Shrek 1.
I think we're looking at 8.
All right, let's do that. Wow, that's way higher than I thought it was going to be.
But as I'm talking about it, and I looked at my notes, and I didn't write anything negative down. It's like...
It's hard. That movie's good. It's a good, solid movie.
It really is.
It's not too long. It's paced wonderfully.
And it's much better than it has any right to be.
It really is.
Dickey, you love this movie, so you want it at number 1, right?
Obviously. Better than Prince of Egypt.
So, Turbo is below the B line.
Yeah.
Is it below the MVA line?
No.
Really?
MVA is a waste of space. It doesn't do anything with what it sets up. And that, I think, is more of a problem than what Turbo lacks in. I understand the offensive parts of Turbo, and that's why it's in the Shark Tale category for that. But I also don't think it's completely nothing. I think there are parts that actually do try. It gets a little zany. It gets a little bit into that B-movie zaniness, but it's also kind of boring.
So should we go down from the B line?
No, if we're below the B line,
we still have to work our way up.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's above Monsters vs. Aliens, I think.
Yep. I don't think it's above Shrek 3.
No, I think it's a one.
I think they both are a chore to watch, but I did not have to watch Shrek 3 in 3 different sittings.
That is valid. I will see that.
But hey, Shrek 3 doesn't say simmer down, boo.
Simmer down, boo.
True. I will say, I'm sure you guys are aware of the artist known as John Cougar Mellencamp. I will say Turbo makes it hurt so good.
Moving on.
Do you want me to paint your house pink?
Maybe.
Ain't that America?
Ain't that America?
So, yeah, Turbo, that was a 5-second discussion.
That was an easy one. I think we're going to start getting into some of the easy ones.
Yeah, I should have quoted Dickey and say, I got something in my back pocket. I like this movie.
Except he didn't like this. What?
No, well, remember he did, and then he left for the mouse thing and came back a week later and flip-flopped.
Oh, is that actually what
Yeah,
that
you
was?
came back, you're like,
Yep.
yeah, you guys are right. We're like, what happened to you pushing back?
You guys are right, man.
You guys are mean.
We are mean. Deal with it, nerd.
All right, this next one, Jared. What are
So,
we looking at?
we have Mr. Peabody and Sherman, which Jake really likes. I like fine, and I don't remember your thoughts. I just mostly remember Jake really liking it because
I'm trying to.
why did you really like it? I forgot.
Remember, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it was
I was like, for some reason,
know
I latched
why?
onto this. I don't know why. I
like
like it.
it's a feeling in your stomach. You're like, I really like this. I don't know why, but I really like this. We all get those.
Yeah.
It
here's the question.
it is above the B line.
That's
I'll
what
give
I'm
you
about to
that.
ask. Is it above the B line?
It's above the B line. For me, are we going to go from the...
So
You start at the B line.
up.
Okay. Go ahead, start.
So since it's above, so it's better than Shrek 4.
Correct.
I don't like it better than Chicken Run.
I
think
like it better. I like it better than Chicken Run, but I think that's where it ends for me.
It's not better than Chicken Run.
For me, it's
I don't even know
the
if I would put it
animation's
above-
fine, but it makes
It's
you
above Shrek 4. It's way more fast paced.
It is.
It's snappier. It's way more interesting in its storytelling.
It gets very, very crazy at the end in the best way, and that's what saves it. You take out that
That's
third act,
true.
and it's
And it has
a
one of the best
passable-
The
jokes.
act does save it.
And it has one of the best jokes DreamWorks has ever written. What is it, Jared?
stop you from-
Sherman, I've got to stop you from touching yourself.
It's pretty gold. It is absolutely.
The second dirtiest
Okay.
DreamWorks joke ever.
You know what? Just for that joke, yeah, let's put it above Shrek 4.
Yeah, okay.
Put it at number 18.
Oh boy, big one. We got How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Oh boy, number 1.
I'm not pushing that number 1.
Don't worry, me and Jake are playing footsies over here, so it's.
I wondered what I get.
That was me.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It's top 5 for sure. We don't have to talk about the B line. It's top 5.
No,
for
this
sure.
just passed the B line.
It's better than Megamind. It's better
Yes.
than Shrek 2.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's better than the first one. Yes, the highs are higher, but it's not as consistent. And you have wasted characters. And Astrid does almost nothing in this movie. And she's a great character.
But those emotional hits just.
I have never been so invested in a character's relationship than Astrid and Hiccup's relationship.
I just wish they gave her something
even
to
though
do.
she does nothing. And it's a beautiful movie.
And again, for me, it's just introducing Valka. That single-handedly is just what brings this to the next level. It just introduces a bunch of new relationships. It makes me. It hurts my. I can't think of a time in any other movie right now that hurt me harder than when Stoic died.
Oh, that does hit hard.
Like that's
no
what.
goodbye.
That's what puts it at number 1 for me.
But, you ready for this? It wouldn't be anything without the one that came before it.
That is true.
But you can say that about any sequel.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be anything before the one. And we already put Shrek 2 above Shrek 1. We already put Kung Fu Panda 2 above Kung Fu Panda 1.
Correct.
So I don't see any issue why we can't put How to Train Your Dragon 2 above How to Train Your
I
Dragon.
feel like Shrek 2 could have worked without Shrek 1.
I feel the first How to Train Your Dragon is a stronger first movie than those other two series' first movies are.
But I still so wait, where are we arguing right now? Where is it?
I think we're arguing 3 and you're arguing 1.
Yes.
No, I think we're arguing 4 and you're arguing 1.
I would be willing to put it over the first one if it doesn't go higher than 3.
Okay, at least pull a 2. Just think. I
It
think
not. I don't think it's better than Kung Fu Panda 2.
You really don't.
That Kung Fu Panda 2 is devastating, but Stoic's death
Stoic's death.
Stoic's death and the capture of
don't get me wrong,
Toothless.
Much as I love the Kung Fu Panda franchise, and I love how they were able to talk about serious, traumatic things in its second one. I think dealing with a parent's death is the most traumatic thing anybody can work through.
But Poe's also dealing with a parent's death.
Yes, but
not in front of him when he was a kid, but it's also, I think that's something.
It's a different kind, and I
think about the way that they do this. Hiccup sees his family reunite, and he sees it reunite in a very genuine and organic way.
Yes.
And then 5 minutes later, they rip the rug out from underneath him. Like, I will admit that it hits it's at least as devastating as Kung Fu Panda 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was arguing just because he was saying it was more devastating. I'm like, I don't know, that Kung Fu Panda trauma stuff, I think, is on the same level.
I will add another thing that puts it over for me is how fast it happened. You aren't expecting it. It's so quick. Stoic is just boom, gone. You don't have time to think about it. You don't have time to process it. And that is what really just makes it feel like it hits harder.
I'm still pushing 3. I don't think it's better than Kung Fu Panda 2. Again, the whole theme of this whole thing is consistency. I just don't think it's as consistent.
I think it is.
They shoehorn in. I'm stuck on this because they have all those supporting characters and they're in it way too much.
I just, for me, Stoic's death is a massive, massive, massive part of the entire DreamWorks franchise, and that's why I think it deserves to be ranked as high as possible.
Okay, so I think it hits harder because Stoic is an arc across 2 movies. Like, you say, yes, I grew up with the How to Train Your Dragon movies in that I grew up about the same age. That means you've known Stoic for longer, whereas yes, Kung Fu Panda 2 does it really well in the 90-minute time slot that it has. You don't see a character that you've loved for, 4, 5, 6 years?
4 years at that point.
Ripped away from you unceremoniously and quickly, just like life.
That's what gets me.
So I'm staying at 3, and Dickey's trying to push it to at least 2. Jake, what are you feeling? Is he starting to make you convinced it's in that second spot?
A little bit, yeah.
I will say, I fought hard, and you guys let me have Prince of Egypt, so I think I'm gonna.
Maybe we should push for 1.
I would love to push for 1.
I don't think I can sell that. I sold them on Kung Fu Panda 2, I think, but
yeah, I'm not convinced that the second one is better than the first one, but
I think it has more of an impact.
Again, higher highs and lower lows.
Yeah.
So I was going again on the consistency train, but I will adhere to that second place.
Yeah. Really quick, just before we write it, I like the idea of consistencies train, but when you have something like that can make such a big impact, it's okay if it falls a little bit.
Who was not watching that movie after having grown up with the first one and went when Stoic died? Like, literally got the breath taken out of them.
Exactly.
I don't think it was it was just nothing. It was like
your
dead
heart
silent.
Like actually
yeah, it's the heart stopping.
And then he takes and controls Toothless.
Yeah. Well, he's already controlling him. That's why Stoic died.
Yes, but
now he's
riding him. Which hurts even harder.
You don't feel it as much until I'm trying to think of where it is in the movie. The part that made me stand up, where it's like, it's after that when he takes him away to the other island or something like that.
and you shot up, you're like, kill him now.
Yeah, no, I did.
you're
I was
just-
like, he needs to die. I have never thought that of a character in a movie or a show, but with, what was his name?
The it's not Igor.
In How to Train Your Dragon 2?
Yeah.
Was it
Drago?
Drago.
Drago.
I don't know why
I have never thought that before, but
Igor. We could watch Igor if you want. The anime. I own it.
Yeah, no, I'll pass.
It's funny.
The more I want it to be number one.
regardless, I have never felt such rage toward a villain before. In a way that none of these other ones have made me feel.
Yeah.
Man, I am really stirring things up,
No,
aren't I?
I want it number one, but I don't think either of us are going to be able to beat him, even though we have the majority.
I don't think I could argue that it's better than that. I'd have to have a really good argument, and I don't.
Next up, we have the 30th movie in the catalog.
Woo!
The 4th Madagascar movie, the spin-off Penguins of Madagascar.
A classic.
It seems to be one of those, when I think back on it, I don't remember much, but other than I had a lot of fun. And then when you start thinking about parts, you're like, no, this was actually pretty fun. Way better than I thought it was going to be, because everyone told me it was bad.
It has no right being as entertaining as it was.
It's the best Madagascar movie.
I just don't understand how they made side characters that, well, I mean, let's be real. We love the penguins, but I don't think anybody thought there would be a whole movie on them. And they made
Much
it
less
actually,
an interesting movie.
right? And then they made it actually enjoyable. I honest to God can't even believe it.
That being said, I don't think it's above the beeline for me.
So you think it's below
Really?
2 of the Madagascar movies?
I was gonna put it above the beeline.
It
I was at
might
least
be.
going to put it above the first one. I'm thinking like 17. Like right above that first movie.
Well, let's work up from the beeline.
Okay, so you think it's better than B-movie? Is it
I
better than
do.
Shrek 4?
I don't remember much of it. That's the problem. I remember more of Shrek 4.
Yeah, so then are we? So Jake might be right. Are we below the beeline? And we just said the best Madagascar, but maybe that is more of a joke than we thought.
I
think it is below the beeline because it isn't memorable.
Really? No.
I don't even remember I remember the end being the most memorable part, and I don't remember the end.
So okay. Let's work way up from the mountain then. It's Monsters vs. Aliens.
It's better than.
Turbo.
Yep.
Better.
Shrek 3.
Better.
Turbo.
Shark Tale.
Better.
Ants.
Better.
Puss in Boots.
It's kind of on the same level of forgettability, but I do think Penguins is better and more
I think it's a
consistent
better-
than the third one.
I think
Better
I
than
would
Puss
put
in
it.
Boots. I would put it better than Puss in Boots.
Would we put it
Yep.
above Guardians?
I think I
though?
would. Yeah.
So
you
we-
think
I think it's just under the
it
beeline.
sits
Okay.
right under the beeline.
So 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see that.
Alrighty, day 2. Give it up for day 2.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
So long we had to film it in 2 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where were we? We've got 30 down at this point in time. So it's been a week.
I guess we're on to 31. That's how numbers work.
Don't you start telling me how numbers work. I've tried Dickey math before. It's very fun because you don't get any of the right answers. But you showed your work.
You showed your work,
And it
that's
still doesn't
and
make
that's
sense.
what's the important part. That is what math.
You showed
and
how
school-
you tried.
Exactly. That
Isn't
is
there
what school is
do
taught me.
you remember those Wayside School books?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember
The
there's
second
the one
one was
kid.
my favorite.
I think it's in the second one, though it might be in the first one. It's the one kid who, when he'd do it his way, and the work would be wrong, but he'd get the right answer. So then they made him do the work the right way, and he'd get the wrong answer.
Yep.
So Dickey is if he did the wrong work and got the wrong answer, which is just based in the usual world getting it wrong.
That was a long setup
Yeah,
for actually not that much payoff.
No,
I don't know. I'm pretty proud of it.
It was. mediocre.
You had to
Quiet,
remind
you.
us of something to walk us through something.
Yeah, I'm like a tour guide to humor sometimes. It's not funny, but at least I showed you the way.
Well, you showed your work. You may have failed and not made us laugh, but
Showed his work.
I laughed. He laughed, but he laughed.
he
at
laughs
everything.
at everything.
Yeah, it doesn't count if I laugh. Okay. Well, on that note, do you want to?
Yeah. Number 31.
This is gonna be quick, isn't it?
Home. I say number 31.
Can we add a
chronologically
number
first.
42 just so that it can be at the bottom?
Number 42. No,
I don't-
we
this is
we
bad, but this
but
is
we
not
but we
Spirit
talked
on
about
Team
this like Spirit
I don't
is
know,
a TV
man.
season condensed into a movie? It's not a movie. At least Home has a structure of a movie. It's not a good movie.
Home does have a good heart.
Yeah, so for we're looking at the list. It's below the Beeline easily.
I honestly have. I
forgot about the
Is
Beeline.
it better or worse than Turbo? I'm dropping all the way to Turbo here. Like,
I was looking at Monsters vs. Aliens.
Is it? Yeah.
Is it even better than that?
That's hard because
I think so. I think it's more memorable. It's
I really think Monsters vs. Aliens is more memorable.
No, I don't. I disagree.
No?
I think Monsters vs. Aliens' premise is more memorable, but Home actually has some decent story beats in there that if the characters weren't so annoying, would have worked better.
I also think that Monsters vs. Aliens is not as aggressively bad as this. This is aggressively bad.
That's exactly what's in the back of my mind when I'm trying to, this, I mean, this hurts more. Monsters vs. Aliens is just kind of like a soft slap. This is just a straight uppercut to your face, which is why I would rank it lower than Monsters vs. Aliens.
I just feel like Monsters vs. Aliens is nothing, and that's a bigger sin in this case. I just feel like when I think of Monsters vs. Aliens, I think of just nothing happens. Whereas Home, stuff does happen. That doesn't mean it's good, but
I just think Home is more forgettable, but if I'm going to lose this battle,
I would not say it's more forgettable.
Oh, it absolutely is.
I would not say it's more forgettable. It's bad, but I would
Home definitely has a better heart.
That's the thing. Again, there's parts of it that work if the characters weren't so annoying. On paper, it works.
That is my favorite thing to say about this movie. I was watching it. 30 seconds in, I hear Jim Parsons. Jim Parsons is his name?
Yep.
Nope, this movie's not going to be for me.
Oh!
Oh, God, don't remind me.
All right. So I'd be okay with putting it. I don't think it goes above MVA, but if you want to...
I'd put it between Turbo and MVA. It's probably going to be bottom 5 no matter what.
Oh, absolutely. This is not...
So we putting it...
I think this goes in the 30 spot, yeah.
Kung Fu Panda 3, I hear.
I
think this is one where Jake in the episode said you liked it better than the first one. Or it was like in the first one's video you liked it. Something like that. Like, did you switch your opinion on it? I can't remember. Because it's my least favorite of the 3, and I still really like it.
In the episode, I believe, at least in the Kung Fu Panda 1 episode, I was still hung up on the fat jokes. Like, they really bugged me that he boils down to, oh, I'm a fat character, and see how I can still do things while I'm fat. I think by the time we got to Kung Fu Panda 3, I had softened to that ideal.
Because it's him accepting himself. It's not...
It's less about an external piece of him and more about an internal piece of him. Mm-hmm. It's like where if Kung Fu Panda is dealing with the trauma of your past, it's Kung Fu Panda 3 to me is dealing with the physical manifestation of that trauma.
It's really just trying to understand what happened and then learn to teach.
Understanding that you do have roots underneath that trauma and it's not all bad.
And for me, I like the teaching aspect. I like that he had to really struggle in how do I extend the knowledge that I have to other people.
Kung Fu Panda 1 to me, although very good, I'm not going to dock it at all. It feels very shallow in that it just feels like all fat jokes.
But again, we bring up the bullying aspect of the movie is why there's so many. Because
I grant you that, and that's why I don't fight that hard about it, because that's just the way I feel about the movie.
Gotcha.
But it's above the Beeline, though, right?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's above the Beeline.
I
would say
because it's going to be up here, it's like, where do we put... Because I don't think it's better than the other two, because I do think the childish tone hurts it a lot more than they intended, but it's got to be because the second one didn't have the returns they hoped for. They had to make it more kid-friendly.
Are we going to go movie by movie, or are we just going to say where we think
we do have to go
go
to the Beeline. We're above the Beeline.
At least above the Beeline.
Because it's better than B-Movie. Yes. It's better than the fourth Shrek.
Yep.
Yes.
It's better than Peabody.
Yep.
It's better than Chicken Run. It's better than Madagascar. Better than Over the Hedge. Better than Sinbad. Better than Madagascar 2. This is where we start getting a little heavy. Mm-hmm. I do like it better than Wallace and Gromit.
I think it's better than Wallace and Gromit.
I do too.
I think it's an excellent way to finish each other. I think it's better than Spirit 2.
Yeah, it's the third act of the movie saves it.
Yeah. As well, not Spirit 2.
I think I would put it above Spirit 2. I don't know if I'd put it above
Spirit 2 or Spirit as well.
Spirit as well. I don't know if I would go above Flushed Away though.
That's where it gets hard. I think I might be stopping between Flushed Away and Spirit.
Yeah.
Not Spirited Away. No, that'd be way higher.
Between that and Dorado?
What?
Between the Stallion and the Cimarron and Flushed Away.
Right there.
You are putting it there, yeah.
Yes, I accidentally said Spirited Away. Like, that's not this at all.
No, that's not even remotely close. That is like...
That is a whole nother podcast in and of itself.
Ooh, we should do that one, but that's
I mean,
a conversation for a different day.
I mean, that's all on
So we're
HBO
going
Max.
with 11. We're putting it 11th.
I'm confident with that.
Yeah. Oh, Jared gets to move a lot. That'll give me time to text my wife back.
And cut to intermission for Jared.
So let me correct by saying I said 11 for Kung Fu Panda 3. I meant 12.
That's
So
why I
meant
was
to say between Flushed Away and Spirit. My bad.
I blame you.
Dang it,
It's not my
Jared!
fault. Next. I'm glad we're in this latter half because I don't have to erase as much now. Trolls.
Yeah, that's not.
How do we? Because we all said it. Like the only really memorable thing outside of the singing "Killed My Grandma" is the song. That's a good song. I like it. But
it's a bop.
And when it drops in the movie, because you know it's building up, it's like I know this is in the movie, and as it's building to it, I go, okay, that's a good spot. But
the movie itself is.
I mean, it's a movie based on 80s Trolls dolls. What did you expect?
Yeah, which it still baffles me that how Trolls 2 was just so much better, but we're not on that yet.
Do we have?
Because Trolls 2 didn't have to be a Trolls movie to be fun.
That's fair, actually. Yeah, I can see that.
So where are we going with the?
I think
it's below the B line.
It's below the B line for sure. I can barely see the
Are we
B
going
line.
from the top down, or are we going from the bottom up?
at this point.
Yeah, so
Better than Monsters.
it's better than MVA. It's better than Home.
It's
better than Turbo, but we're starting to get.
It's better than Shrek 3.
Is it better than Shark Tale?
I think that's where I stop.
So 29. So between Shark Tale and Shrek 3.
I'm still back and forth if it's better than Shrek 3.
It didn't bore me like Shrek 3 did. It didn't make me very sad.
I'm kind of in the middle now that I
And
think
it's
about
not bland.
Dickey, do you have reasons why you think Shrek 3 would be better?
And from exactly.
Besides the Shrek bias,
just because it's Shrek, but no, I think. I don't.
I think I know what you're going to say.
just torn.
Maybe not say it, but maybe think it one day. The campfire scene in Shrek the Third, the only like really good scene, is better than anything in the entire Trolls movie. And that's the one thing keeping it ahead of Trolls.
Yeah.
The first Trolls. Is that in your head?
That, and it's just, I feel like I got a little bit more enjoyment out of Shrek 3 than I did Trolls. Because like Trolls, I know we mentioned it back when Jake mentioned it when we were first talking about this a while ago. That like it switches tones too often, and that's like throws you for a loop. And I feel like that is what's holding it back from Shrek 3, where Shrek 3 at least had
a drab tone.
It was more consistent, and I know we're going back to consistency, but Shrek 3 was a little bit more consistent than Trolls was.
It does have a more interesting story.
It does. It has a very
because I never would have thought a movie about trolls would be about helping Zooey Deschanel Bergen character date.
Yeah, it just
that what
that
happened.
part just felt weird, and it like Trolls 2, I would put it higher, but Trolls, I think
I think I'm on your side about that. I think I do think Shrek the Third is better, which is weird because I've not said that often. I don't think any of us have. What do you think, Jake?
I agree.
You're okay with that?
Okay, so we're putting
Trolls
at 30.
Trolls is number 30.
We have to talk about Boss Baby again.
You know what? That's the next one.
Is it the next one?
Oh, dear God Almighty.
I'm pushing for this to be number 10.
Number 10? Absolutely not.
So, if you didn't hear those guys talking while I was writing and erasing, Boss Baby, I believe, is next. And let me just say, I'm never ever budging on Prince of Egypt being at the top. But let's be real, Boss Baby's going at number 2.
I swear to God, I will throw him!
Sorry, number 3, because Boss Baby 2 has to go at number 2.
I will.
Throw
hands. I will.
Boss Baby.
Fight. No.
Boss Baby, Boss Baby, Boss Baby, Boss Baby, Boss Baby.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
We'll make a deal.
It'll tie for number 1.
Oh my God! If this touches the top 10, I walk.
Well, I definitely think I had more fun with it than El Dorado. So
there's no There's no way this is better. This is not hitting top 10. There's not a chance.
Okay, 11. See,
We're
I have a serious thoughts on where to put it, like just kind of what area to put it.
I think it's above the B line.
You think it's above the B line?
I do think it's above the B
You really
line.
think it's above the B line?
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna
just
go that-
above the B line though. Like
I wasn't going to go that high, I
21.
don't think.
I was like,
Because part of me thinks like I have more fun with it than some of these, but I don't think it's as good because then when that second one is close to the B line and better than the first one, it's like how do you
okay,
weigh
so
this
where
out?
would you stop?
That's what I'm looking at.
Just, let's do like who doing it. Work away from the bottom.
I kind of feel like it is close to the B line now. Like I'm putting
It's better than Monsters vs. Aliens.
Yes.
It's better than Home. It's better than Turbo. It's better than Trolls. It's better than Shark 3. It's better than Shark Tale. It's better than Ants. It's better than Puss in Boots. It's better than Madagascar 3.
Yeah.
That might be where it stops. I don't know. I think it's better than Guardians.
I think that's where I stop. I don't think I go above Penguins.
I think Guardians.
You don't think
is
you go?
better.
Okay.
I think we're below the B line, but we're close.
100% better. Guardians is better, and I would also say Madagascar 3 is better.
That's right. He's a Madagascar 3 stan.
I am. I absolutely am. I think the silliness.
What is the difference between singing about a circus in an afro and polka dots and throwing a baby through a window?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Well,
these are
legally.
legally speaking, there's some questions.
Yeah.
But no, like I think Madagascar 3 and Boss Baby are very, very close because they're both very silly, absurdist. They both have hit those same notes.
What makes Europe's Most Wanted better?
That's what I was getting to.
Okay.
Is what I think makes Europe's Most Wanted better is because, like I said before, when I was first talking about how I dislike Boss Baby, I was never questioning the logic of Madagascar 3. They threw logic far out the window. They said, screw you to logic. We're just going balls to the wall as crazy as we can.
How can you question something that's not there?
Exactly.
I think that's...
In Boss Baby...
I think that's a little bit...
Baby, they tried to use that, and they didn't use it well. And
he does have a fair point that it is inconsistent on that front.
Yes.
But I do feel the heart of the movie is in a better spot than Madagascar 3. Madagascar 3 has the liar reveal, and it's not even a very strong liar reveal.
I also see that, the heart. The actual, whatchamacallit, the morals. The themes of the movie.
There you go.
Is a little, I got there. Is a little bit stronger in Boss Baby, and I cannot believe I'm saying that.
When I think of Madagascar 3, I remember that stupid liar reveal plot that does nothing. All it's there is to make the girl kitty and the Russian kitty, what's his name? The Bryan Cranston one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Just make them mad at our main characters for stakes in the third act, which it doesn't amount to anything.
All right.
It's like they're mad because they're not circus performers, but they just put on like this great performance after you sat on a child. Remember the elephant?
Yeah.
The point being,
haunting.
they put on that actually pretty visually cool performance with the Katy Perry song, right? And then they're mad at them for saying, oh, hey, by the way, we're not circus performers. It's like at this point, does it matter?
That's a fair point.
So when I think of that, it makes me mad. It's like this just isn't as well put together as the heart of Boss Baby.
All right, you got me there. I'll
Guardians is the harder one because Guardians is way more forgettable than Boss Baby, but is more visually interesting outside of the Boss Baby imagination.
See, that's where the logic argument works better. There's logic in Guardians.
Yes, the world building.
I think Guardians just works better, period, than Boss Baby.
I disagree. I have to disagree on that.
I feel like it just has a, and I know this is, I've said it a million times. It's just consistency.
Consistently bland, though.
The last time that I didn't give it like a full rewatch, but like the last time that I was just sitting through watching clips of it,
Clips of what?
Guardians. Like
you just sat there and watched clips of Rise of the Guardians?
Yeah, sometimes when I'm editing the TikToks, I just have to watch through the clips.
When you're looking for
Yes. And so like I really, really do believe that through and through it is a more solid movie than Boss Baby because it doesn't and I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record when I keep saying this. Boss Baby didn't know what was real and what was not, and that for me is what just makes it hard to put it up there. So I really do think Guardians is better.
I will say that Guardians had an intriguing mystery, but it dropped it.
Little bit.
That's
and
the
the
thing.
best character in the
dropped
movie is
it.
gone for most of the movie. Sandy.
Sandy was pretty cool.
I hope he never speaks.
They'll never make a second one.
No.
I think I'm okay with that.
And they made a second Boss Baby.
They did.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Jerry, where are you leaning on that?
I'm stuck between Guardians and Madagascar 3. I think that's where I set my sights for a second, then moved to the Penguins one, but I think Jake's starting to push back on it because you know what I'm saying. I'm feeling it at number 25.
All right, I'm happy with 25.
Jake?
That is not where I was pushing for.
He was pushing for 24.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
it's better than Guardians.
I think
it's more fun.
Okay, so maybe I didn't listen to that conversation the way I thought I was.
Yes, the battle is between 24 and 25.
Okay. 24 and 25.
I think it is more fun than Madagascar for sure. I think it is more fun than Guardians for sure. It's definitely more memorable. It's better visually than Guardians. I think it is. I relate to the heart of the story much more than I do to Guardians. I think it's much more relatable.
Guardians is far more creative. It really stretches out, and from the creature design to the mystery behind Jack, I just think it packs a bigger punch than Boss Baby does.
I still think it's better. I can concede not really care that much, but I think it's better than Guardians. I would not say it's better than Penguins. You're right.
It's definitely below Penguins. Easily below Penguins.
I'm looking at what's coming next just to know how to push this since you're both looking at me.
You got to figure out which one you're going to try to...
I had to pick between...
Also think about it, because the second one is going to be better than this one.
I know, this is not anything compared to your choice like an hour ago, within the... It's probably been an hour since that moment.
Was that even really a choice? Because you wouldn't have let me put it above...
Yeah, I'm saying, the stakes for that one are way higher than where we are.
Absolutely.
But I'm still but I don't want to put it too high, and then something here knocks other things down, but I don't want to put too low where then other things are higher. You know what I mean? I'm kind of caught in the middle. I'm looking at what's coming next. I think I'm going to push for it to be at 24.
Oh, you son of a gun.
It's more memorable. That's the thing that's sticking in my head. It's more memorable. It's more colorful. Guardians had a fantastic premise, and it
doesn't Monsters vs. Aliens it doesn't drop the ball. It just doesn't do anything, it doesn't wow us. It just kind of is serviceable. It does exactly what we expect it to do, and nothing sticks out super well. I mean, Hugh Jackman was pretty funny as the bunny. But
yeah, that's true.
But even then, it's not like a huge standout performance, because, if anything, his voice work for Flushed Away was great.
It was.
And then it's okay, I get what you're doing for Guardians of the character, but it's just nothing is popping off the screen.
All right.
And I do applaud them for trying a different approach, because it does look different than everything else. But I don't think it's as good.
All right.
I'm sorry.
I'll concede. I'll give you 24 on that. It could be worse. I would have it lower, but I guess I'm just gonna lose that.
I mean, you would have it probably below Turbo.
Yes, I absolutely would.
But it's not that bad. It's not good. I'll grant you, it's not good, but it's not that bad.
Dickey, if both me and Jake are somehow still alive when you're on your deathbed, the last thing you're gonna watch is Boss Baby.
Oh
and
my God!
You'll die right as the movie ends, and then Jake and I will still be laughing, and then point at you and laugh, thinking that you passed out, and then me and Jake will die, and we'll all be in the same room together with the Boss Baby credits rolling. Well, at that point, they probably beam straight into our brains.
That sounds like an absolute nightmare.
Sounds pretty good to me.
I don't know. They did that with Futurama. They did that one thing where they stuck the eye thing.
Oh yeah.
And it was like a little screen. That's how it'll be.
I'm gonna die listening, watching Boss Baby.
It'll be the last thing imprinted on your eyeball.
God help me. That's also assuming that you guys can outlast me.
I am fatter. That's true.
You are also older. I was kind of going more for you just being.
That's true too.
So when you go out, I'm gonna make you watch.
I like how he thought about this before he brought up the story that he's making up on the spot.
I'm trying to think of something that you hate that I could make you watch. I don't know. A Spirit Untamed. Let's do it. We're all going out with a bang.
That's not a bang. That's going out with a train.
That's staying in. Okay, so next, I don't think this one will go very high, even though I really like it. I just feel like it's another one that doesn't leave a lasting impression.
I feel like I know exactly.
Captain Underpants, the first epic movie.
I know exactly where I want this to go on the list. Because I like this one.
I like it too, but I also have to see the perspective of Jake, who had no nostalgia for it.
That is true.
And that's like, it's fine. It's something he'll never watch again.
That's what it is for me. Although they are making a second one, right?
I don't think so as of right now. They have a show. So it's a franchise,
okay.
But I don't think they've announced anything for a sequel. I'd watch that sequel. I love that. I like how they do that with the art style. I really do. But again, when you have 30 or 40-year-olds voicing these kids and not even trying to sound close to kids, it's very distracting.
I mean, Kevin Hart's voice it's a little bit less distracting because
he's the size of a kid, yes, but
he just sounds silly. So that's why it's easier.
But I did like Ed Helms as Mr. Krupp / Captain Underpants. Yeah. Keep your underwear inside your pants, please.
I must.
So this is where I have to lean more to Jake's perspective, because when you take nostalgia out of it, it's kind of a mess. Because they're using like 3 or 4 different books into one. I
would say it's a mess. I just don't think it's not their strongest by no means.
No, and it's not like a complete disaster. It's just it's a lot to take in.
It'll end up in the middle for sure.
Are we going? I'll ask Jake to start. Like, are we above or below the B line for you?
I'm thinking below for me.
Gotcha.
Not very far below though.
I'm thinking right about where we ended with Boss Baby, like in that area.
No, I was going higher.
See, I was thinking.
I have to listen to that perspective though, because
I was thinking 20. I was thinking 26, maybe 25.
So really quick,
I could be convinced.
Just because Jared's writing is starting to mesh together.
What can't you read?
Well, 25 is smack dab between Puss and Guardians. And
no, that's not Puss. That's Boss.
Oh!
Yeah, the O's not showing up very well. Okay. Not only is the chalk failing me and my hand cramping, the light, like I can barely see some of these because of all the erasing and the lights glaring on there.
Oh, you know what else is different about this week than last week? I got a haircut.
You did get a haircut. And it does look good. It's a good haircut.
Thank you. I wasn't asking for a compliment, but thank you.
Yeah, of course.
It looks nice.
No, you don't get to compliment me.
Jake, your haircut looks terrible. So amazing. You are absolutely killing it today. I really think you need to consider putting this movie a little bit higher.
Hey, just so you know, girl, I was thinking of you.
Oh.
You hear that? Wait, listen. I hear some kissing up.
Do you hear it?
Don't even say it.
Okay.
No. I don't even know what you're going to say, but when you laugh like that, it means it's going to be something at someone's expense.
Oh, yeah.
Or something I'm going to have to cut out. So, okay. So we're below the B line, but I think we're above. I'm thinking 25.
Oh, my God.
That's what I was thinking, too.
Are you kidding me? I was going to put this at 20.
You think it's better than Shrek 4? Did I even write 4?
Yes, I do.
You think it's better than Peabody and Sherman?
I absolutely think it's better than Peabody and Sherman.
I love Captain Underpants, but
it's kind
Peabody and Sherman has a much better ending.
It kind of has the same animation style.
It does.
Exactly.
I think
it's got that same sort of vein of nostalgia type movie to it.
I just think the silliness and just like just the pure entertainment value.
It wasn't that entertaining though. It was just kind of
Again, the animation for Peabody and Sherman to me doesn't look great because they're trying to match that look that just doesn't look good when you have that kind of depth to it.
Match that look that doesn't look good when you don't have that.
Something like that. I'm working on it. It's hot in here. The point
I
being,
need a diagram of that sentence.
they're trying to emulate the classic 2D look, the hand-drawn look, and I don't think it looks very good.
I think that
I
the
agree.
Charlie Brown movie, I don't think it came out around the same time.
2015. So
And
like
this came
the
out,
year after.
Ish.
Year
And
after.
then Captain Underpants was the year after that.
Okay, so
Like
I
2
think
years
that this
after
was
that.
trying to be replicative of the Charlie Brown movie, but I also think that the Charlie Brown movie did it better.
I think I actually think, and I know it came out before Spider-Verse, but it seems like they directly adapted the books into a movie. Just the way they animated everything and the way they made him look. And I know it's my nostalgia speaking because I grew up with these books and I love them dearly.
I just have a question.
Yes.
What did that comment have to do with Spider-Verse?
Because
I was wondering that too.
Spider-Verse made it look like a comic.
Yes.
Oh, so you're saying that Spider-Verse came directly from a comic book in the same way that this looked like it came from the pages of that book.
Yes.
That's a fair comparison.
Yes.
I'm still going to put it at 25.
25.
Sweet Jesus. Can I at least get you to bump it up higher than Boss Baby?
Look at him. He's the one you got to fight on this because I kind of was
I had
reserved
way
at 25.
more fun with Boss Baby.
I was going to say, I'm kind of reserved at 25 because
Baby.
I know if I push, he's going to push right back at me. So I'm kind of sticking
Well, I mean,
it
we
there.
could
But
put-
if you can convince him,
I just think
We
that
could put Captain Underpants at number 1. Just saying.
I
Just a
was on
straight
your
swap.
side in this.
Just a straight swap with number 1.
Okay, so Captain Underpants went to the 25 spot. I know, Dickey, you pushed harder, but
I mean,
I don't know. With the Boss Baby thing, I know Jake's going to push hard back, so I just kind of was riding that.
It's hard to fight over him over Boss Baby.
Yeah. So next we have another
this
good.
is-
We hit a good one.
this is
How to
gonna be
Train Your Dragon 3, which
interesting as
good
to
because
how
it's a good
high-
movie, bad because I'm gonna have to do a lot of erasing in a second.
Yes, you are.
So this one is interesting of where it goes because I personally think it's the weakest of the 3. But I remember I think it was it Jake who put it higher than one of them?
I think I did.
Yeah, I think you
I went
said-
2-3-1 or
yeah.
something. Or
Yeah, remember you put this higher
Yeah,
than the
because
first one.
let's just throw it out there. It's above the B line easily.
Oh God,
This is pushing top 10 easily.
Yep.
Yeah, this is easily.
So do we
close
want to
top
start from
10.
14?
I would
Or
say
so,
yeah.
'cause I was
let's
gonna
start
say
from-
if we jump back, I know we're jumping ways, but like Kung Fu Panda 3, I think it's a better third movie and a better movie than Kung Fu Panda 3.
I agree, actually.
Yep.
Yes.
And I think it's better than Flushed Away,
I
but
think
man,
it's
does that
better.
hurt because I love
I think
Flushed
it's
Away.
better than Flushed
It is
Away.
better than Flushed
It's a
Away.
different better, though.
It's a very different better. Like, yeah, it hits harder because it goes for the feels more than just the goofs.
Mm-hmm.
The goofs.
It's better.
Why
It's
is that
better.
not-
It's just
it-
to feel better than the goofs.
It's better than El Dorado.
It is. It is better
Yeah.
than Dorado. It's definitely better than Crude's one.
Better than Crude's 1.
Oh, here we go though. Is it better than Shrek?
I don't think it is.
I think it is.
I don't
Oh,
think it
I'm
is.
caught in the
I
middle
think
again.
Shrek. I think Shrek 1 beats this.
I don't think so.
I do. And I'll tell you exactly why it does.
Okay.
Because
Enlighten me.
so, again, and I'm trying to think of the best way I want to phrase this. I feel like the first Shrek, it just holds more weight to it than the third How to Train Your Dragon.
I don't know. There
How?
was a whole generation of kids waiting to see the end of that.
There was.
Like, and it's even a different generation.
I want to hear the weight argument though. What is the weight of Shrek and what is the weight of the Hidden World?
So, I mean, okay.
What is the weight?
To me, because I never saw How to Train Your Dragon 3 in theaters. I remember
True.
it. I remember it came out. I remember I was working with Jared when it came out, and I never got a chance to go see it because I just immediately as soon as it came out, people were kind of just like, it's okay.
I heard a lot of good things
I heard
personally.
I heard good things, but it was just like, it's not as good as the first two. It's okay. Whereas I think Shrek 1, I think
that's not. Oh, it matters what you mean by weight. Are you talking like story weight? You're talking like
yes.
cultural impact? Because of course Shrek is a bigger one because Shrek is a game changer.
I think both. I think, yeah, Shrek obviously.
Okay, so you're not going for weight. You're going for cultural impact. So you're not even talking about the movie as much. You're talking about the effects of the movie.
I was literally about to talk about how.
So the weight. So what weight in the movie?
Yes. What?
In the movie.
No, that's where I don't know.
You're talking themes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what are the themes of Shrek? What's the theme of Shrek that's the big one?
For me, I just feel like Shrek is just trying to be yourself.
No, yes, okay. Sorry, I thought you were going a different direction than that.
No, and
Go ahead.
I feel like Shrek is trying to be herself, and How to Train Your Dragon 3 is more kind of just like I don't know. I can't really place it. It just seems
it's pretty obvious what the theme of the
pretty
third
much
movie.
the same.
Yeah,
Finding yourself and standing on your own.
Yeah. The theme of that third How to Train Your Dragon is basically how do you move on from friends, even if it's a mutual party.
That's what I was gonna say. It's kind of feel like the moving on part, and
which that is really, really hard to take because none of us want to. I feel that's heavier than because Shrek. That's a great message. I think they go for the laughs more than the emotional weight.
They absolutely.
But I feel that How to Train Your
do.
Dragon, like that's hard to take because it's both of you rely on each other too much to the point where one of you doesn't need the other one. That's hard to let go. Do you have any friends you've had in your life where you kind of drift apart and you don't want to? It's like it's just not working.
I mean, usually at that point it's because of distance, like physical distance.
Yeah. The point being, it's hard to let go of things if it's a positive thing. And I feel that I'm pushing on Jake's side because I just feel that's stronger than Shrek's.
I think it's stronger than Shrek 1. I think, yes, Shrek 1 was a cultural
milestone.
Yeah. But by How to Train Your Dragon 3, we've settled in. And again, you have a whole different generation than who watched Shrek 1 waiting to see what happens.
Drastically different, yeah.
And I think Shrek 2 deals with the self-acceptance part of it a lot better.
It does, which is why I think Shrek 2 is better.
Which what we all thought. I'm just saying, I feel like Shrek is going for something a little more lighthearted in that aspect because it's the first movie. It's going for both.
And
Shrek 2 actually
it was pretty experimental at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, if I budge on Shrek 1, is it better than Kung Fu Panda?
I don't think I'd cave on
I
that one.
like it more, but I don't think...
I think there's more fat on the bone in How to Train Your Dragon. I think the side characters still don't have... They're used better than in the second one.
And the villain is not as good in How to Train Your Dragon 3.
I've warmed up to him on repeat viewings, but
honestly,
you've seen it more than me.
Yeah, honestly, the story, it's honestly not as good as the second one or the first How to Train Your Dragon. I like the way it makes me feel, and I like the way it makes me think about it from an adult perspective. But the movie itself, like Kung Fu Panda, does have a tighter story. It has a better villain. It is less meandering in the center of it. And it doesn't end with that stupid monologue. I hate that monologue at the end.
At the end of The Hidden World?
Yeah.
Because that's another movie where they have the right ending and then they keep going, right? Yep. Even though it's like a minute. It's not like The Last Samurai where it's like 10 extra minutes end it right there. I'm not saying spoilers, just right there. End it right there. That's good. And then they go to the next scene and I go, what are you doing? You're going to lose me. And as the scene's going on, you're like, it's kind of like Joker as well.
Wasn't that monologue before they go back to see the dragons, or was it after they saw the dragons, they get back on them and they fly up into the...
Yeah, I think it's after when they're all flying together, where his kids are flying with them too. That's, I think, the monologue. And I don't remember it well enough to remember if I hated it.
I just remember that I don't like it.
So you'd put it at 8?
Yeah, I don't want to, but yeah.
I will concede.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get all over Shrekky over here, but the second movie does. Where is it? Second movie does it better than the first movie.
It does. Which I don't want to 100% agree on.
Anyway, what's next?
Abominable. I think it's below the B line. I think it's a serviceable movie, but when I think about B movie, I just can't place it above it, even though I think I've said it's better.
You know where I think it's going to land?
Right in the middle.
No.
Are we below the B line?
Yes. For me.
I guess. I don't.
It's so forgettable and it doesn't amount to much.
I know there's just
the parts are better than the what's it called? Some? Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got good parts of it, but it doesn't leave a lasting impression.
It really didn't.
That's a shame because it's.
I remember
it's
being really
interesting
excited to see this.
Yeah. Because I'd heard people say, like, wow, it's actually really good. I go, oh, I wasn't expecting anything, but hey. So maybe expectations played into a little bit. Maybe I was just underwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like it went from being something that could have been more interesting into very 2010s formulaic territory.
Yeah, I could agree with
for
that.
animated movies. Like, oh, here's the villain who ends up not being the villain. Oh, yep, she's going to be the twist villain.
They're doing the twist villain thing again.
Wait, why does so-and-so have an accent? That's not her... Oh. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's why she's putting on an accent, because then her character is going to end up being someone else completely, and I'm the real villain. And not trying to bad talk the movie. It's just, a lot of these later ones, and it's because we hadn't seen most of these, and because we're older, we're not the demographic, they come off as stale.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Because we've seen it before?
We've seen other
Because we're
versions of
older?
it in, like, most mainstream kids' movies, where it doesn't mean it's bad, it's just kind of the same thing.
It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think of where I would place this. I'm just trying to think of what I consider.
So we're below the B line.
Yeah.
So it's better than... Would you say it's better than that whole column over there, going from MVA to Ants?
Monsters.
Do you know where I want to put it?
Where do you want to put it?
In between. I want to put it at 29. Maybe 28.
What's
Do you think it's better than Madagascar 3?
Mad 3 and Puss in Boots.
Or you think
It's-
putting
it's-
it between the two?
Either between the two or bump down Madagascar 3.
I feel like it's similar to Puss in Boots, where there are good parts of it, but by the time you get to the climax, you're just kind of like, huh.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But I also feel like Madagascar 3 at least has that first act that is way better and
gonna
more
say,
fun than
it just-
anything in Abominable.
It feels like it's
That's where I'd push back on the Madagascar
more
3 thing.
entertaining.
Okay, so 29.
Yeah. 29?
I'm good with that.
See it. Yeah, I could see 29 because I feel like it is mildly better than Puss in Boots.
Yep.
Not a lot, but just
They
enough.
both kind of just, again, the word that we've been throwing around today that we didn't last time is serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. It does its job, and it doesn't really add anything to the conversation.
I mean, that does kind of define the second half of this catalog, doesn't it?
It
Yeah,
really does.
and part of it is we're old grumps that aren't the demographic. I get it. But also in this half, there are good movies still. They've just not... They seem to have hit their stride in the beginning and the middle. They kind of... I think they had some creative changeover in that time. Just
I'd be curious
other
to-
people bringing their voices in. That's not bad. It's just... It's changing.
I'd be curious to see like what executives switched around, like who took over where, and just as to how. Because you're right. I feel like there has been like a shift.
Yeah, but the bad guys, as of us recording this, looks interesting at least. I'm excited for it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. To see
Well,
that.
the animation style is different at the very least,
True.
and that is going to make it interesting.
That helps at least just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next we have Trolls Infinity War, which it's below the B line and it's above the first movie, so we have at least got a range set. Because it is an improvement. Because it's more consistent. It's more visually interesting. It's still nothing great, and I know Jake was, and I was agreeing with you that it's like, why is Rock always a villain?
I was saying that.
We all said it.
That's
He said it first because
I
he
said it
watched
right
the
after I
movie
watched the
before you did.
movie.
fair. It's just it's absurd. It's ridiculous. Stop making rock and roll the villain.
Yeah.
Rock and roll is awesome.
Yeah, we get the anti-establishment angle, but that's not what Rock is anymore.
Right. Exactly.
It's not. It's been a long time since Rock was the big fight the man type music.
So
Oh, yeah.
we're going to be above the first movie, but below the B line.
Yeah, so we're looking at the range of 24 to 33.
What's better than Shrek 3?
Yes.
Yep.
It's better than Shark Tale.
Yeah.
It's better than Ants.
Better than
Yes.
Puss in Boots.
Better than Puss in Boots.
I would say.
I'd say
starting
better than Abominable.
But below Madagascar 3.
Better than Madagascar 3.
I
I wouldn't say it's better than Guardians, but I would say it's better than Madagascar 3. Here's the deal. It's more fun. It's more consistent. You said yourself, it's a better story. It's interesting. Madagascar 3 is just all over the place for the fun of it. And what's their motivation? They just wanted to.
that's true.
What's the motivation in Trolls? There's actually like real life stakes.
Yeah.
And it reveals something about itself that is maybe not the most unexpected thing in the world, but
I mean, that's. Are you ready for this to be higher than Madagascar 3?
I don't.
It kind of sounded like it.
I don't. I if I was doing it myself, I think it probably would be, but I don't think I'm going to be able to win a battle between Guardians in it.
Oh God, it's
No.
not better than Guardians.
So I think it's above Madagascar 3.
If Madagascar 3's first 30 minutes was the movie, it'd be a much better movie.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause, man, once they get on that train, it just screeches to a halt.
I'm not disagreeing with you, and I'm not trying to say that Madagascar 3 is a bad movie. I just think
No,
Trolls 2
I'm
is-
siding on you with that one. I hate to keep pushing it down for you, Dickey, but he's bringing up the right points where
No, you
consistency.
You kind of twisted me on myself. Like when you were saying that about like, it feels like it works better than Madagascar 3.
So he talks for 5 seconds and quotes exactly what I was saying in the actual episode. There you push back at me for 40 minutes. Here he says it once. You're like, I'm kind of flipping on that, Jake.
You know, he convinced me more than you do.
He said the same thing I said.
Yeah, he just says it better than you do.
That's true.
You want me to launch myself across that table? I will. That foam is not going to feel good when your head is smashing through it. Don't you laugh at me.
Oh yeah, you're gonna come. You're gonna run, bud.
And let's be honest. Let's be honest.
That's what I thought. That's what I
God.
thought.
What were you saying, Jake?
Let's be honest. This has Sam Rockwell in full cowboy garb.
That's
Yeah.
right.
All right, for that alone, it's better than Madagascar 3.
Okay.
This is number 28.
I don't like it. I don't like it putting it that high, but I have to because I do like the movie. I would watch it again willingly.
Let's pop it in right now.
Sure.
Okay.
DVD player. Let's go.
The way that you flip your hair gets me overwhelmed.
The way you smile.
Chair, flip your hair. See if it overwhelms Dickey. Please leave that in. Please. Please.
Are you okay?
I wasn't prepared for that. Woo!
He was not ready for that arousal.
Shivers.
The Croods, a new age.
This
Continuing
is
their
above
good-
the
This
beeline.
is interesting. This is
above
definitely
the
above
beeline.
the beeline.
So,
I would say it's maybe even a. Oh.
I don't think I put it above the first one. I don't think I do.
I don't think this is better. than
No, but I know where I
It's
kind.
funnier, but the heart isn't as good as that first one.
I know where I kind of want to put it though.
Oh God, I'm
I think
scared,
you
dude.
want to put it 15th, don't you?
No,
Oh, really?
a little higher, just a little higher.
You want to put it above Kung Fu Panda 3?
I do.
You want to put that above Kung Fu?
Hmm.
3 Kung Fu Panda 3.
Thinking about that. Do we put it, well, first, is it above Spirit?
I think so. It's really funny, and again, Ryan Reynolds. And again, there is heart there. It's
I
not
know.
as good as the first one, but there is heart, and it's colorful, and it completely changes the formula of what you expect from the first movie. It's not just like a continuation of it. It takes it to the next logical place.
It does.
But I'm just trying to imagine. So, in my mind, when I'm trying to debate that in Spirit, I can't look at it as a second movie because Spirit is not a second movie.
There's no
So
second
what
movie to
am-
Spirit.
It's
No.
right over.
No,
It's a
no,
singular. It was a
That
singular
was a joke.
project. It was a singular
What about the
project.
show? Oh, yes. The joke. I am in on the joke.
I
I gotta tell you, I
really-
think it
I'm really
is.
back and forth if it's better than Spirit.
Because it's for sure below Flushed Away. We're establishing that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
above Wallace and Gromit. So it's basically, where are we putting it?
I think I like it better than Kung Fu Panda 3. That is, I think, solely because I don't have any nostalgia for the Kung Fu Panda movies.
I feel like Kung Fu
You don't
Panda
have
3
nostalgia
is-
for the Croods either.
That's true. That's why I'm looking at it objectively and saying I think Croods 2 is number 13.
I don't think it's better than Kung Fu Panda 3. I think, and I know it's hard because Kung Fu Panda 3 has 2 movies behind it and Croods 2 only has 1. But I feel like it just Kung Fu Panda 3 like it seemed like it had more emotionalness to it. Like it hits you a little bit more in the heart.
I say,
than Croods 2 did.
so if it were not for the third act of Kung Fu Panda 3, would you be saying that?
I think so. I do. I really do. I really liked everything with the spirit realm. I really.
But that's all in the third act.
And the very beginning.
In the very beginning.
Like
Yeah.
10 minutes.
So I just.
That's what it is for me.
Kung Fu Panda 3 is just such a disappointment for me
It
compared to the reveal of it in the second movie. And I know we shouldn't rank these by the movies that preceded them, but it just is. I think it's a drop of the ball of the franchise.
It's hard to come back when you make Kung Fu Panda 2, which is currently our third greatest movie on the list.
Look,
how can you say
they
that?
got Bryan Cranston to be his dad, and I didn't even remember that Bryan Cranston was his dad until the episode that we did. It's so forgettable in its execution.
Why am I forgetting on J. Jonah Jameson's name?
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. You had J.K. Simmons in Kung Fu Panda 3.
Yes, J.K. Simmons was
Yeah,
great.
Ryan Reynolds
His villain
in
is
Croods
not
too,
super
and Nick
compelling.
Cage in Croods too.
It was super, but I know he wasn't very compelling, but I just ate up. I just thought the voice acting, the way that he carried himself.
He does have a cool theme. I'll give him that.
Bum 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 bum. Like that.
But now we get back to consistency. Croods 2 doesn't really go outside. How do I say this? There's not much fat on the bone because you are sitting back. It's a more laid-back movie, but everything is progressing towards, like at first, that dinner scene when all the storylines are intersecting to then the next part. Whereas I feel Kung Fu Panda 3, not to say nothing's going on, but they set up the teaching thing, and then it takes a back seat for a while, and then they bring it back up, and they don't really nail it as well as I think they should have. Especially the bridge scene with Poe with his dad, or I go, this feels forced. This just doesn't feel as natural as what we've gotten before.
I also think that the Croods 2 subverted expectations for what the movie was going to be much better than Kung Fu Panda 3 because
it doesn't have to subvert expectations, though, for it to be good.
That's true, but I think that in not doing that with, let me rephrase. I don't think Kung Fu Panda 3 met expectations. I don't think they tried to do anything. I think they took the most
safe.
It's
pretty safe.
I was going to say basic, but it's not basic.
No.
I just honestly think that.
I mean, we put it 13th as of right now. It's not like it's even close to one of their worst movies.
No.
Yeah,
it's certainly upper tiers.
They took a winning formula with good characters, and they didn't take any risks.
Yeah,
and
it's
fine.
Think they took
it's
risks
good.
in Crew 2.
I'll get in there.
Okay,
I'm just saying, that's why I think he's trying to say it's an underwhelming feeling because they don't push. It doesn't push the series. The sequel should be pushing the series because that's what Croods 2 does. That's what Kung Fu Panda 2 does. That's what How to Train Your Dragon 2 does.
The only thing that I would add to that is the third movie. It's not the second. And given that it's the third movie, it feels like it has to wrap things up more.
But you can still push it because the third Dragon movie does push it.
I was going to say Return of the Jedi pushes it hard, and it's a third movie.
Those ones do. But I'm just thinking, playing it safe is the right word to use because instead of trying to, push out and make more world building, just push out and just make more of an impact. I think they focused on bringing it back home rather than trying to create more out of it, which is I legit think that it's better than Croods 2. I do. But it feels like I'm outnumbered right now.
I'm not trying to gang up on you too much, but just he's making good points, and I'm agreeing. And it's I made those points too in the episodes. I'm trying not to be, just unload on it either. Because
it's another one of those things where I honestly think they're probably at the same level.
They really are.
The whole thing with the monkeys and Croods 2 just makes me laugh.
The punch monkeys.
The punch monkeys are very silly.
And Nick Cage. I mean, come on, Nick Cage.
I know, but
we really can't argue voice actors because if you look at the two, the two of them, it's the same.
Yeah,
they're different people, but they're equal amounts of good.
Yeah, and that's what it was for me. The first Croods had more heart than this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Going to be higher.
And I think Kung Fu Panda 3 had more heart too.
More heart than what?
Then Croods 2.
than Croods 2.
Yeah.
I
is
didn't get that in Kung Fu Panda 3.
I think it wants to have more heart. It has a good amount, but I think because of the contrivances of the story, it doesn't quite get there.
Well, and I also think that it's got to do with a character shift. Like, there's not really a character shift in Kung Fu Panda 3 like there is in Croods 2. Like, you go from Croods 1, which is focused mostly on Grug and the core family, but then you go to Croods 2, which is mostly focused on Ryan Reynolds. Mm-hmm. Like, Grug's not a backseat, but...
Well, if anything, that's the big emotional center of the movie is him.
Yeah.
It is him, again, learning to change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But also the Bettermans change. Everyone kind of changes.
Yes.
And they utilize their supporting characters much better than in the first one. But the first one, that's not a fault of the first one. It's a first movie. You have your central characters.
I guess Kung Fu Panda 3 felt like it took a step back to what I didn't like about the first one more than I think Croods 2 did. And I think that's why I like Croods 2 better.
Again, the childish tone is what hurts it. If that was the first movie, like that tone is the first movie, and then the next two happen, that's almost perfect progression. Each one gets more serious because you're getting more in depth. But I think they did take a step back.
Okay, well, I lost this battle, but I'm okay with it being there.
Okay, so
you got Shrek 2 at number 5.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, so we're putting Croods 2 at 13.
You got How to Train Your Dragon 2 at number 2. That was a tough fight. I'm willing to bet.
That was a very tough fight.
And although I thought the first How to Train Your Dragon would be higher than Kung Fu Panda 2, as much as I love Kung Fu Panda 2, that's another one that's much higher than I thought.
Wait,
all in favor of Spirit Untamed going at 41, the last and worst one. Say aye and raise your hand. Aye.
Nay.
What?
I get it.
Oh, hey! Well done, sir. Well done.
Thank you. It's been a long video, you guys.
It's been quite a long time.
So, okay, are you going to try to move it up?
No, I just wanted to say that.
You just wanted to say nay?
I think it should replace Prince of Egypt.
Spirit Untamed is the greatest movie
they have
ever made.
It has a train. And that train is named Jake Gyllenhaal. What does Prince of Egypt have in comparison?
That's all it needs. Yeah, you can't think of it.
I'm not saying anything because I don't want to enter this stupid conversation. Nay, I'm still laughing with the nay.
Nay. Very well done, sir. Very well done. So yeah, I guess it's not. There's no way in hell that's moving lower than.
I mean, what
can we move it to 42?
Actually, yeah. Can we put it at 42, even though there's only 41 movies?
Well, I'll consider it. I just don't want to have to go over and erase more than I have to. So it's nice for me to go, I don't have to move this anywhere. So
You haven't.
I just moved 2/3 of this board just now. I don't need to be moving more than I have to.
All right, that's fair.
So the last movie, the one that we covered most recently, Boss Baby 2.
Ooh,
I'm going to be super honest with you right now. I'm just going to cut through the fat here.
Don't you dare. This is not touching 15.
Just put it at 25 and call it good.
So you want it to go above Penguins?
No, Penguins is 25.
Yeah, you said put it at 25.
Oh, sorry. Put it at 26.
You want it right above the first one?
Just right above the first one.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not going to argue that.
So 26 would be the second one, and then 27 is the first one, and on down, right? So everything below Penguins just goes. Boop.
Yeah,
I don't think it's better than Penguins.
Okay,
Genuinely.
Yeah.
It's better than the first one, but I don't think I like it.
I'm actually very happy with that ranking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was a lot easier.
Wow, I thought this was going to be a battle.
Well,
came through and just.
Well, it took us a while on that first one, and then the second one, just like our own episode, you were kind of on our side.
I still can't believe
how fitting.
It's baffling how actually decent.
Now get to erasing.
Yeah. So we'll wrap up in a second, right? Once I get all this.
Once you get it all written.
finalized and whatnot.
Actually make it look pretty this time.
I think I can do that. That's way better than my usual handwriting.
It's true. I usually
Because I
can't
have
read
to
a
make
thing
it
he writes.
seeable.
That's fair.
And I'm doing mostly caps because you told me to. That is probably the best I can do.
All right.
Thanks.
Oh, I can't say what that comes into my head. Number 41, one short of the answer to the universe. Spirit Untamed.
And second from the bottom of the list, we have number 40. I can barely read it, but I think it comes down to Monsters vs. Aliens.
I still think of Angels and Airwaves when I look at that.
I would say I see it, but I don't even know what that is.
Jared's struggling to read his own handwriting. What's next, bud? What's number 39?
Number 39. Home.
So, number 38, Racist Snail. Turbo.
And moving back up the list, number 37. I can't think of any jokes for that.
Zoe Deschanel goes on a date. Trolls.
Trolls at number 37.
Number 36. As Dickey said, and I told him not to in the episode, and he did anyway. Shrek the Turd. Shrek the Third Shrek.
Yeah.
What?
I love this.
What is number 35? Is this true?
Yep,
The one above
it's
36.
the one above 36.
At number 35, the peak of Will Smith's career, Shark Tale.
He did get an Oscar.
Oh! And let's not forget at number 34. Crap again! I can't think of any. Oh yeah, we're gonna go with the
Ants.
ants.
Number 33. Puss. In boots.
Perfect. That's it.
And you gotta say the next one, Jake, like I've been saying this whole time.
I don't know how you've been saying it. I've not been listening to you.
You gotta hold out that first syllable.
You got this. I believe in you.
Number 32. I want to say something else.
Okay, go ahead.
Number 32. Animated Mr. Holland's Opus, Abominable.
Animated Mr. Holland's Opus. Was there someone deaf in the movie? I'm not serious. That's what Mr. Holland's Opus becomes because his son is deaf, right?
I think so.
Well,
Long time since I
It
seen
was
this
a joke.
I'm
Just keep moving.
I'm trying to figure out what the joke is.
Anyway, number 31. Afro.
Hey, you got one.
It is Madagascar 3.
You can say the full title.
I did Madagascar 3. Oh my God, Europe's Most Wanted.
There you go. Hey, you defended it hard, and you can't even say the full title.
All right.
He couldn't remember the whole title. It just came to him. Maybe we should bump it down.
No, it's
kidding.
good where it is.
You thinking 40?
Okay. We just finished that.
Yeah. No. At number 30 is Trolls World Tour. Sorry, Trolls Infinity War.
That was me using the stones.
Oh, I got it. I just didn't think it
Well,
was.
these
I
are
should've-
strings,
I should've
man. These
snapped.
are strings.
Jake, what's next?
At number 29, Guardians del Toro.
Guardians del Toro.
I like it. Number 28. I love my underwear. It's
No. Jared's seen my underwear.
I've seen my underwear. I love them, and it's Captain Underpants, baby.
What's the full title? We're
Oh
giving you
dear
all the-
God, we're gonna hold on. Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. I got it.
Number 27. Boss Baby, Boss Baby, Boss Baby.
Boss Baby.
You know what? In the middle of the road, I'll take.
Yeah. And what's the next one?
Number
Jake?
26, Boss Baby, Boss Baby, Boss Baby. Two.
Family Business.
You destroy your microphone. And number 25, Penguining, because it's the penguins of Madagascar.
Should we stop before he takes his turn and tell him a pun?
We need a code word for when he's about to make a pun.
Shark Tale?
Shark Tale. Welcome, brother Shark Tale. Number 24, as we dubbed the Beeline, it's Jerry Seinfeld wasted 8 years of his life for this masterpiece. B movie.
What a classic.
At number 23, we have a sure indication that writers play too much Dungeons and Dragons. Shrek 4.
And at number
Shrek 4. Why didn't they make it
Sorry.
4 ever after?
4. They did, didn't they?
Nope.
I'm pretty
Sorry,
sure the
Shrek
marketing
4
did that.
ever after.
Anyway. And number 22, an okay time travel movie. Peabody Mr. versus Mr. Sherman.
Peabody versus Mr. Sherman.
I swear he said Peabody versus Mrs. Sherman.
But look at me, we'll say Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
We got there. I got there.
Number 21, The Great Escape. Or Eggscape, as some people call it. Chicken Run.
Very well played.
Number 20. 2000s PlayStation 2 video game movie, Madagascar.
Oh, number 19, we got Bruce Willis's the best role he has ever career that I can't speak.
His ever career.
His ever career.
New word.
Let me get this one out. Over the hedge.
Yeah, you should have said, before he was over the hill, he was over the head.
Oh, man.
Did they ever actually go over it? I think they went through it.
They went under it.
Yeah. They
Or
went
through it,
Yeah, they
yeah.
went through it every time.
Anyway.
They didn't go over it. They sat on top of it. Oh.
If nothing else, you could say it's rocking suburbs.
Just rocking the suburbs.
That was a Dickey pun.
I know. Shark Tale.
Shark Tale.
So, number 18 is Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. And $7 at the box office. I feel so bad for them. Yeah, it was at the same time Disney's was switching too. Everyone was switching.
Yeah, it happens. What's next?
Number 17. This one's going to be serious because rest in peace, Bernie Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Madagascar 2. Escape to Africa, the movie that taught us that Dickey doesn't know what a continent is.
He doesn't understand geography. So if Dickey math is when you can't do numbers, is Dickey map when you can't do geography?
You know what?
This could be an episode out of itself.
Okay. Dickey, we're gonna look at all the states. And you're going to say, I know all the states.
I don't.
Like, well, we need to do a refresher, don't we?
Listen,
Are the states part of the continent of North America?
Anyway,
Is Hawaii part of the continent? That's an island.
I'm not listening to you anymore. Number 16 is Wallace and Vomit. I mean, Wallace and Gromit.
It's a good movie.
It is a
and
great
you got to
movie.
say
the full title.
He's
Oh
getting
my
all the
God.
long ones.
And the Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Number 15. I couldn't think of anything good because I'm laughing at him. It's Spirit, Stallion of the Matt Damon, Bryan Adams collaboration.
Cinnamon. Spirit Stallion of the Cinnamon, right?
Cinnamon.
I'm allergic to cinnamon. That's when The Rock was... No, it's still basically the same thing.
It's pretty much the same thing. Oh, man. What do we got?
14.
Number 14, the greatest letdown of this generation of DreamWorks.
Ooh.
Kung Fu Panda 3.
And number 13, we're not going to get too crude about this one.
Shark Tale.
I'm sorry, I wasn't going to say it, but... Wait, but I caved.
It's crudes too. I'm just like, are you happy with yourself? What's next?
12.
Are you trying to think of something to say?
Yeah, but I'm also laughing at you at the same... It's flushed away.
11, Jared and Dickey's Excellent Adventure. El Dorado.
I like that.
The Road to El Dorado.
The Road to El Dorado.
That's about
My
5
apologies. I just
minutes
didn't
of
like the movie that much.
And number 10, I don't have any more puns. I'm just gonna say Cruise number 1. The first Crudes.
I'm still laughing at you trying to think of more at the same time.
It's hard.
Number 9. Shrek. I'm not even trying. I had nothing. I'm like, it's Shrek. The first Shrek is in the 9th spot.
Hey, it made the top 10.
Yeah, are you happy about that?
I'm very happy.
Number 8. The only movie to make Ed Sheeran famous. How to Train Your Dragon 3. The Hidden World.
And at number 7. Crap, man, I'm a lot of puns. It's Kung Fu Panda 1.
Good. It's a Christmas miracle.
Do you want me to come up with one?
I got nothing. I mean, sure. What, you got something on the top of your head?
Fat Goose Palooza?
What?
Because he's fat. He thinks he's a goose.
Sure, Fat Goose
Palooza.
Sure, Fat Goose Palooza, a.k.a. Kung Fu Panda 1.
There you go. This is your favorite.
Oh.
Don't let it down.
Yeah.
You gotta think of a good one.
Number 6. Attack on Titan. It's Megamind. I did the thing.
You did that. Oh, yeah, though.
Number 5. Far, far away idol. I mean Shrek 2. I mean Simon. I mean Shrek 2.
And number 4, we're getting the top 5 now. How to Train Your Dragon 1. We're not dragging on this one.
Shark Tale.
Shark Tale. Number 3, which is fitting because that's how many times I almost cried. Kung Fu Panda 2.
Number 2. How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Straight away. And I have the honors of giving us the number 1 movie that both me and Jake would like to vote down, but it is what it is. Number 1, The Prince of Egypt.
I thought he was going to say something.
I couldn't think of anything. I'm really all out of puns. I tried my hardest.
Step Brothers.
Oh! Dang! I wish.
I'm going to redo this. Cut him out. I'm going to be doing number 1. It's called Step Brothers, Prince of Egypt.
There we go. Oh my God.
Who's driving the boat? That was so funny. It kills me every time. It's like, wait, who's driving the boat? And it just cuts this random camera shot of the boat smashing into the rock. I don't like that movie really at all, but that killed me.
Oh, it's so good. And wow, that
No, it's not.
I love it.
You can like anything. You like Turbo.
Thank you. I do like Turbo. Wow, we did it.
We did it. That's 41 movies. Took us
42
hours.
coming soon.
Yep. It took us hours to rank them and many more hours just making all these wonderful podcast episodes for all of our adoring fans. We appreciate all your love and support and get a little choked up thinking about it. I know we have more in the future that will come out, but this is
Absolutely.
the big grand finale.
Of our first, this is our first big series, and yeah,
I think Jared's going to cry.
It's pretty emotional.
I didn't think he was capable.
I know. It's
Like, I almost thought he didn't have tear ducts or feelings.
I have feelings. I share them with you every day.
I know you do. buddy.
even though we don't want him to. He just
Sponge
always
cake.
I'm sorry. That's an inside joke.
Yes, it is.
I don't even understand.
And you never will.
Yeah, it's cool. All right. Well.
Anything else before we wrap up the original run?
I just want to say thank you to everyone for listening and following with us.
Thank you for having patience with us.
At this point, we've put out, when you include bite-sized stuff, it's almost 100 episodes, right? It's a lot.
I thought it was like 60 or 70.
Okay, so it's not 100 episodes. But it feels like it's been a long
Dickey
time.
Matt.
And
Just as a FYI, at this point in recording this project, this file right here, 4 hours and 50 minutes.
yeah, an epic finale into an epic series. Well done, guys.
Well, for the last time during the original run, we're gonna. Well, actually, we gotta do the social shout-outs for us.
Oh yes. So yeah, obviously stay tuned because we are gonna keep putting out more new stuff. We don't even know what we're putting out yet, but we're gonna figure this out. We got some good stuff coming your way, so stay up to date on all of our socials. You can follow us at TikTok, at Twitter, at Instagram, at Facebook, whatever you want. We're at OffSlate. And also, please do not forget to rate us on Apple Podcasts if you listen. It really helps us out. And also, like, comment, subscribe, pay attention to our YouTube channel because we post some pretty entertaining stuff on there as well. And I was expecting to look back and see you guys just cracking up again.
We have a bad streak going of doing that at the end of video.
At that.
Anyway, for the last time in the original run, thus ends DreamWorks, a DreamWorks podcast.
Wow.
Bye.
So long, farewell, until we meet again.
I do.
You say it. I don't want to put it in the episode. Should I say it to him?
Yeah.
It was for Kung Fu, you skadooshbag.
Oh, that's so good!